Good morning to everyone. The weekend is over. Back to business, back to work, back to whatever you're going to do today. For us, back to talking about short track racing here on the Morning Bullring. Hello, everybody. I am Bob Dillner, Casey LaJoy, alongside, I was going to say as normal, but not always. You missed a show.
Yeah.
So did I.
Here and there.
Well, I didn't miss a show. I actually called in from Florida.
Yeah, you didn't invite me to call in whenever I was.
Hey,
gone.
you could have asked. I certainly said, hey, I want to talk a little dirt track racing. So that's what I did that day.
Yeah, that's true. You had a lot more to talk about than I did.
What were you doing?
I was driving home from the 500.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. How'd your brother do yesterday?
27th.
27th
Not
at
bad.
Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
Yeah.
Of course, we're here to talk about short track racing, and we have a great guest lineup here today, including the winner of the Alabama 200. That's right, two-time Snowball Derby champion Augie Grill will be joining us. We'll be talking about who the heck is Devin Morgan. Big winner this past weekend at Greenville Pickens Speedway, but not a lot of people know that name. Of course, we're talking to a lot of different people. The winner from the Ultimate Supers season opener down at North Georgia Speedway, Michael Page, also going to be joining us on the PFC Performance Hotline, as well as two very important people as well. Christian Eckes, ARCA Racing Series, ARCA Menard Series. I got to put the dollar in the hat already. He'll be in the house here today, actually, on the PFC Performance Hotline to talk about his run for the ARCA Championship. And the Sioux Chiefs Short Track Challenge begins this weekend at Five Flags Speedway.
Say that 5 times fast.
Sioux Chiefs Short Track Challenge. I got to say it a lot on
right.
MAV TV. And we'll be live on MAV TV from Five Flags Speedway this weekend. And then Burt Myers, the mouth of the South.
I thought that was Dwayne Goins.
Okay, is that what it is?
I think that's what he refers to himself.
Okay, well, yeah, there's a lot of people. But we refer to Burt Myers as one of the mouth of the South. So he'll be on, of course, modified driver, multi-time champion at Bowman Gray Stadium, as well as former champion of the Smart Series, the SMRS Series, the NASCAR Whelen Southern Modified Tour, you name it. Burt's part of the posse down here in the South.
That's right. And he's a Madhouse superstar.
Madhouse Superstar, that's right. Yeah, unfortunately, that show didn't do so well.
No, Madhouse was great.
Yeah, but the second coming of Madhouse didn't do so well.
Not good. It was like Dumb and Dumber 2 or whatever. Like it was not great.
Yeah. They did a little funky stuff. Honestly, a lot of the stuff from that original Madhouse show was interesting because a lot of it was scripted, but it still made it entertaining. Sometimes, it's kind of like the John Travolta movie, Trading Pate. You got to script stuff.
Yeah, I didn't watch that one either. I heard it was awful.
I didn't download it yet. Apparently, it's already available on iTunes.
Yep.
I am going to download it because, like Dale Earnhardt Jr. said on his Dale Jr. download last week, any movie made about racing is a good thing.
Yeah, it's true.
Because it brings more, exposure, more attention to the sport that we love so much.
What was that one movie? Logan Lucky? Didn't they have?
I didn't see that one.
That one, it had something to do with Charlotte Motor Speedway or something. They were robbing a bank and somehow racing got involved. It was with Jonah Hill.
Okay.
And
nope, never seen it.
Who's the other guy?
What's your favorite racing movie of all time?
It's hard to beat.
Could be a question this morning already. See how we didn't even discuss
Days
this?
of Thunder. See, and your brother.
Wait, with Days of Thunder?
Mark Keeler, by the way.
And his brother was bashing hard on Driven, the movie, with Sylvester Stallone, and it wasn't that bad. They were racing through the streets of Chicago and such.
Driven was the best, you said?
No.
Oh, the worst.
Your brother was
he did
ragging
say
hard
it.
on
Yes,
it.
he did.
And I didn't think it was, it was cheesy, but I'd rather watch that than watch, I don't know.
Yeah, listen, I didn't. It was entertaining, is what I would say.
I'd rather watch Driven than 3.
No, I'd rather watch 3.
No, 3 was not the documentary. The documentary was great, but the movie,
the ESPN movie,
the fake movie,
the ESPN movie.
Yeah.
Hey, Casey.
See, I know Dale didn't
Not
like it. Dale Jr. didn't like it. From what I heard, Jr. and some other people over there didn't like it. But I think it was entertaining. For sure, to watch. So that's why I liked that movie.
I think the documentaries in auto racing have been outstanding.
What's
the 30 for 30 with Tim Richmond?
So what's your favorite?
Either Senna or...
Senna. See, I didn't like Senna, honestly.
Senna was great.
I didn't like it. You like that documentary really dull and boring.
And 30 for 30 Tim Richmond, I do. It's interesting. The 30 for 30 on Tim Richmond was really good too.
Okay, I didn't see that one. I do want to see
awesome.
that. What about you, Mark? What's your favorite?
Six Pack.
Me too.
Six Pack is
Me
just,
too.
It's
Yes.
an all-time, just unbelievable movie.
By the way, Daryl Canfield in the house. You can't see him back there because he's wearing camo. That's one of our hashtag More Short Tracks hoodies that will be available sometime online and at some racetracks around America, too. We got a lot going on here for sure. Tom Ryan in the back, by the way. Just saw him just back there just a moment ago. The Pittsburgh Steelers guy, he was picking on me for ranking on the Pittsburgh Steelers.
We have two of them behind me.
Yeah, I know, but that's why they're behind you.
Yep.
And Kendra Adams in the house as well. She'll deliver the news at the top of the hour, Tom. Top of the hour. Yes.
Top of the hour.
And we got a lot more to talk about here, of course. Can we get a picture of the site, Tom? I got to direct Tom over there to give me that because we got a lot to talk about and a lot on speed51.com here today, a Monday morning, 7:37 in the morning. Already plenty of stuff up on the site, including plenty of video highlights already from around the Southeast especially. There we are, NHRA champ and ARCA winner, filling fast rides at Five Flags Speedway. A lot to talk about. And there's that video recap from the Ultimate Southeast at North Georgia Speedway. Michael Page might have walked away with that one, but I don't know if you watched the highlights. I did, Casey, as a good employee of Speed 51. Just a great racing throughout the pack, honestly. Watching Tyler Millwood and Shane Clanton kind of get together, do a little bump and run there in turn number 3. A lot of good racing going on. Corey Hedgecock looked pretty good as well.
And all the highlights from the Appalachian Indoor Showdown are up as well.
That's like 2 weeks ago, Harry.
Well, no. So they were coming out this week.
Well, this past week.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, who says you can't watch it? It's up there forever.
There you go. Absolutely.
Don't yell at me.
Devin Morgan, the big winner at Greenville Pickens Speedway, and we'll talk to him, like we said, the highlights for that limited late model race on the Speed 51 Video Network for $9.99 a month and $79.99 a year. You too can watch video highlights, features, interviews, music videos, and more. Whatever Tom Ryan wants to do, that's what's on the Speed 51 Video Network. So tune into that. Let's go to the PFC Performance Hotline right now and welcome in our buddy, our editor for Speed51.com, Brandon Paul. Good Monday morning to you, buddy.
Good morning, and before you ask, yes, it is snowing. We're getting about 6 inches this morning, so before you even ask that, I'll get that out of the way. It is snowing in Maine.
So, since it's snowing, you have an opportunity to watch racing movies. If you had to pick one to watch this morning while you and Christine are just buried in snow, what movie would that be?
Honestly, and I knew you were going to ask me this one too, I don't watch movies barely
you're
at
like
all.
my wife, Angie.
So I can't even answer that question well because I don't watch movies. I watch live sports, and that's about it for me.
Okay, I saw you at the Bruins game. Nice picture, on your Twitter the other night, but with you and your girlfriend Christine. That was really nice. Bruins, baby, red hot right now. Red hot. Casey, you love New England, don't you?
I don't know.
You're from Connecticut. Well, your family's from Connecticut.
I don't
guess.
like hockey. I grew up in North Carolina, and I never got into hockey.
All right. Well, Brandon,
it's gibberish.
What's going on from a Speed 51 perspective this morning here on the Bullring?
Well, I think we have to go back a little bit because obviously we have a lot of stuff coming up, a lot of stuff that happened this weekend. But I want to go back a little further. Early last week, it was announced that the Denny Hamlin Short Track Showdown will not be returning in 2019 at Langley Speedway. And I thought that was interesting because obviously that's a big race that late model stock car community really looks forward to every year. Basically, they just came out, the Denny Hamlin Foundation, and said that the stars weren't aligned to be able to host the race this year. I actually spoke with Chuck Hall, a spokesman at Langley Speedway, and they're still going to be hosting a big race this year, the Grassroots 200, they're calling it. And he really stressed that just because Denny Hamlin and the Denny Hamlin Foundation was getting out of this event, they still wanted to put on a big race for the grassroots racers, and that's what they're doing. It's going to be an event with an increased purse, so those guys will have something to look forward to. But I just thought that whole thing was interesting. There were also reports, the Daily Press in Virginia reported that it did have something to do with the amount of money that it does take to host that race, a $100,000 purse. In addition to that, they also had to pay for these late model rentals for guys like Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch and guys like that to be able to race. So it was an expensive event to put on. But obviously that was a big story in that late model stock community last week.
And that was a big story because the Denny Hamlin Short Track Showdown has been going on for a while. It's been to a couple of different venues. Started out at the old Southside Speedway there outside of Richmond. I heard another contributing factor, honestly, was with this new package and with everybody trying to figure stuff out. Yes, it does take a lot of money to get these cars prepped, primed, ready, rented, a purse, that sort of thing. But I mean, I heard from somebody, a source close to the event, that it also had to do with trying to get all these guys to come over and compete from the NASCAR ranks. And that bothered me a little bit, honestly. That bothered me from the mere fact of, everybody's talking about hashtag more short tracks, and especially those dirt track guys really support the dirt track realm, but the pavement guys need to support the pavement world a little bit more. And to hear that some of those guys, it was difficult to get them to come over and compete, kind of disturbed me a little bit, honestly. I don't know what the foundation for that is. It was a mere statement that was told to me by a source close to that race. But that bothers me, Casey, because, the only person I honestly see doing a lot within the pavement realm to support that side of short track racing is Kyle Busch.
Right. And I think it's mainly because a lot of those guys probably don't want to go run a late model race and not run well, and then then they look bad.
Dale Jr. said that on his download last week or 2 weeks ago.
Right, but who cares? It's short track racing.
Right.
Just go do it. I mean, the Denny Hamlin Showdown used to be a really big deal. I remember I think it was 2012 when they ran at Richmond when NASCAR was there and K&N was there, and that was the reason why the K&N race was live, because they were rain delayed and they were doing the Denny Hamlin Showdown. So it used to be a really big deal, and then over the years it's kind of drawn off a little bit. And it used to be, wasn't it at Kingport for a year or two? I remember McReynolds and Ambrose got into it pretty bad one year.
I know definitely it was at South Boston. It was at Southside, Richmond. I can't remember Kingsport.
I want to say if it went,
but maybe it went to Kingsport one year, and obviously Langley then. So it's been at a couple different venues, and I like that, honestly. And by the way, Brandon, just to set the record straight, I mean, Kyle Busch, he actually built his own late model stock car at his program up at KBM in Mooresville to actually go run that race that he did. So he was one of those guys that put a lot of his own money into the program to establish a chassis, to establish a car, and I think, honestly, the only one to do so.
Yeah, and honestly, going back to that whole thing, I mean, it's been about a year now since we really had this discussion when Kevin Harvick made the comments at Phoenix, ISM, whatever you want to call it. And honestly, and I said this back at the time, and I don't want to rag on Kevin Harvick, but he's done a little bit as far as contingency programs and whatnot since then. He ran the K&N West race out at Kern County. But other than that, like you said, the only person that I see on a consistent basis really putting their money where their mouth is when it comes to asphalt racing at the short track grassroots level is Kyle Busch. None of these other guys are really doing anything about it. They'll sit there and talk about it. Yeah, we need more grassroots. We need more short tracks and all of this. But when push comes to shove, very few of them outside of Kyle Busch are really doing anything to help promote this level more.
And let's just also say this. There are some of those drivers that honestly have some restrictions on them by the teams in which they compete for on the NASCAR level. So there are some of those drivers that really can't go out. Some of them have told me that they would like to go out, compete in a short track, and they can't. And I understand to some degree those restrictions, although I think you got to let, boys be boys and girls be girls at some point. You got to let them go out and have some fun. That's what I like about, Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson and Kyle Busch. Those guys go out and they seem to be in a little bit of a better frame of mind. Not Kyle Busch yesterday because of an incident on pit road, speeding penalty. But when they're at those events, they really enjoy themselves.
Yeah, and it seems like it's more of like the older generation that's running in Cup right now seems to take care of. They try to do what they can for.
You believe you're calling Kyle Busch an older generation?
Yeah, well, you look at what you got now with Chase Elliott and Ryan Blaney and Bubba, all those guys who were really known before they got to Cup. just from short track racing. And what's Chase Elliott doing? Like, I'm calling him out. What's
Kenny.
Ryan Blaney doing? I mean, what can he not do?
I mean, from listen,
Him and
I don't
Bubba and
know.
Ryan go off
I
on
know.
vacation.
True,
once a month.
but from what I understand, and I could be wrong, okay, but from what I understand, there are some restrictions that Hendrick imposes upon their drivers to go and do other races. Same thing from what I understand, and it's a protective mechanism. You go off and something can happen. Penske, from what I understand, is the same way. But that sounds like a topic of discussion for like a whole show.
That's fine that you don't go race, but when's the last time Chase Elliott shared a Speed 51 post about short track racing, other than maybe, he liked a tweet from the Derby?
Yeah, we definitely would love to see more of that, for sure.
That's more help than they know.
It's true. I mean, you got to talk about, your buddies and the players and short track racing and so forth. And I think everybody gets caught up in that own world, up there. And listen, I was in Cup for 17 years and to a couple of years there for sure. You probably asked Duke Kenfield. I got caught up in that scene while we were running Speed 51, and it's like, oh, okay, what are you guys doing? And to some degree, it's just part of business and part of life. Right. But what hurts to do an occasional tweet or something like that? Anyway, we go off. We digress because we're passionate short trackers. Brandon, Paul, what else you got before we kick you off?
Well, another interesting story from last week, I thought at least. Conor Kresick, the Speedfest winner, will be making his ARCA debut at Five Flags Speedway this weekend in family-owned equipment. That's not something you hear very often at that level. Normally it's somebody taking a ride with a big team like Venturini or DGR or something of that sort. But Conor Kresick went out. They purchased a car from Chad Finley, a car that was actually originally owned by Kevin Harvick, and he's going to make his ARCA debut in that car with his family-owned team. And he actually even had a quote in our story that we worked on that basically said that it was cheaper for him to buy that car and do it as a family-owned team than to go out and rent a ride for that race. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And I think we had some pretty good reaction on social media as well in regards to that.
Yeah, that is crazy. I mean, listen, it costs a lot to field a car, but the price of rides, no matter whether it's late model racing, ARCA racing, truck racing, you name it, right on down the line, to Legends car racing is getting absolutely out of hand. Brandon, I know we're going to be taking comments and questions and so forth throughout the show. Are any coming in right now? What do you got for us?
Yeah, we have quite a few coming in. This whole NASCAR discussion created quite a few comments on our Facebook page. Jacob Warren said, Bob Dillner, you nailed it. Kyle Busch is the only one who supports. Very few superstars ever put back like he does. We also had Dan Doherty. I feel these NASCAR guys owe it to the short track fans to go back to them. They bring in a ton of fans and help grow the sport as a whole. So we definitely appreciate those comments, and I'll be monitoring them throughout the show, so definitely keep them coming in.
Sounds like we got our poll question today. Yep. Do NASCAR drivers do enough to help promote short tracks? And I think we need to take Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, and certainly Christopher Bell out of the mix. Tony Stewart, I still think, does a lot, but he's a retired NASCAR driver, so you really can't mention him because he always does. You can't mention Kenny Wallace. You can't mention Kenny Schrader. They're short trackers now, and Kenny Wallace will say that. I'm no longer a NASCAR guy. I'm a short track guy.
Well, especially after watching the Vegas race yesterday, they might be more opposed to doing some short track racing because I think there was only like one person that was happy after the race, and that was the guy that won. Everybody else wasn't very pleased with the package.
No real restrictions on the short tracks, are there?
No. And you're not just wide open and struggling in dirty air.
Yeah. Anyway, I think Justin Marks, by the way, had a great solution for NASCAR. Look him up on Twitter. Check out what he said yesterday. I think you could take it maybe one or two steps further than that, but check out Justin Marks on Twitter. We're going to take a quick break here on the Morning Bullring. We got a lot of people coming up here, as well as Christian Eckes, Burt Myers, Devin Morgan, and a whole heck of a lot more here on the Morning Bullring on Speed51.com. We'll be right back.
biggest super late model race this side of the Snowball Derby. It's the 43rd annual Hardee's Rattler Weekend, headlined by the Hardee's Rattler 250. It all happens March 15th, 16th, and 17th at South Alabama Speedway in Off, Alabama. Defending race winner and rising NASCAR star Harrison Burton will be back to defend his title against some of the best super late model racers in America. March 15th, 16th, and 17th at South Alabama Speedway in Off, Alabama. Be there!
Race fans, if you enjoy grassroots short track racing, then Richmond Raceway is the place for you this weekend. It's the inaugural Past Commonwealth Classic under the lights on Saturday, March 30th at Richmond Raceway. See North America's best short trackers, including past super late models, the ground-pounding tour type modifies, act late models, street stocks, and mini stocks. It's the stars and cars of short track racing this Saturday afternoon. Racing for nearly 400 laps of intense action. And fans, every grandstand ticket gets you closer to the action in the DC Solar Fan Grounds. For more info, go to ProAllStarSeries.com. Don't miss it.
From Daytona to Five Flags Speedway, the stars of the ARCA Menard Series are back for the Pensacola 200, presented by Inspector Thermal Solutions. Saturday, March 9th at Five Flags Speedway. The best of the best race for 200 laps, plus all of the locals in the Outlaws and Pure Stocks. The action begins with qualifying at 2, local racing at 4, and the Pensacola 200 at 7 o'clock. For discounted tickets and info, check out FiveFlagsSpeedway.com. It's the ARCA Menard Series at Five Flags Speedway, Saturday, March 9th. Be there!
Getting things pumping this morning on the Morning Bullring here on Speed 51. Bob Dillner, Casey LaJoy with us, and we got some comments coming in. I think we kind of stirred up things with that first segment a little bit. Jason Helmer said Monster Energy Series should run a few races on dirt.
Not opposed to that.
Yeah. It's like, duh, especially the truck series. Right. You know, when you go to, here's my idea, and this is what I've said, and a lot of people... You know, through the years, you know, I used to be on Race Hub and so forth, and I'd make suggestions and so forth, and they were like, oh, that's stupid. You're just a short track guy. Now we're talking a lot about short tracks. Right. But the NASCAR Gander Outdoors Truck Series, I believe when we go to Texas Motor Speedway, should run on the dirt track. Yep. When we come to Charlotte Motor Speedway, should run on the dirt track. You know, when you go to Chicagoland, let them run on the dirt track.
Vegas.
Bottom line. Yes, it would be interesting. It would be a lot of fun. Look at how much hype over Haley Deegan and winning over there at the dirt track at Vegas last week. What a great, just bunch of action on the dirt track. Open wheel and the K&N series. It was a lot of fun. A lot of people went over. A lot of people said, this is awesome. Well, if this is awesome, and people are talking about, Brandon Paul talked about these cookie-cutter racetracks, and NASCAR trying to save, the racing on the mile-and-a-half tracks, and I understand it completely because you have the infrastructure and millions of dollars poured into these facilities. Right. But at some point, these tracks are maybe, and I'm waiting for the first person to honestly step up and do this. I was going to tweet, and I'm not going to mention the racetrack that I was going to say this to, but I said someday, when I don't care anymore, I was going to tweet this. And I'm not going to mention the track, but I'm going to just say in general, a track, if you want to fix it, bulldoze it, make a half mile or a 3/4 mile track, and make a dirt track side by side with it. That's the way to save some of these tracks.
Texas.
That was not the track that I was referring to. I think they have a lot of great promotion, and that's part of the charisma about going to Texas, honestly. But it was another track. But honestly, if you want to save some of these tracks, stop dealing with the horsepower and, we're just making it wimpified racing to some degree. It may be a little bit more on the edge of your seat, but you're not seeing who the best driver is out there. I don't believe. Anyway, we talk about Cup. We digress a little bit.
Yep.
Keep those questions coming in, not only about that, but questions for some of our guests coming in. Now, we want questions for Chris Regal from the Car Store. He's coming in a little bit later on in the show on our PFC Performance Hotline. Christian Eckes, Burt Myers, Devin Morgan, Augie Grill, you name it. Right now, we got out of the great state, the Empire State of New York, Daryl Canfield on the Morning Bullring. Welcome to the Morning Bullring in your first appearance here on the show. We need a bell. Mark Keeler did not get the sound effects ready this week. Ding. He's slacking once again. Slacking. So what do you think, Daryl?
I'm just happy to be here. It's a lot better than being in New York this morning. They have about 5 inches of snow at home today.
Is it snowing up there right now?
I don't know in the last couple hours, but they got snow overnight, so I get to fly home to that. I don't know. It's going to be like 8 degrees tonight, I think.
I thought he was going to give the Kyle Busch answer. Everything's great. Happy to be here.
Yeah, I know. Yep.
Yeah, definitely happy to be here. It's pretty neat to get to spend some time with you guys. It was a fun weekend down here covering a race with Zach Evans. It's a lot of fun going on down here.
Yeah, you went down to North Georgia Speedway for the Ultimate Supers opener, the south portion of the Ultimate Supers program. Kelly Carlton led series, and man, it looked like just a stellar field down there, honestly. I watched the highlights on the Speed 51 Video Network, and it was neat to be able to see how many big names were down there in a great field of cars.
Yeah, it was a great field of cars. They got a little bit of a late start because there was so many cars coming in, so many people. The line down the road to get into place was insane. Once they got
dirt track
racing, short track, it was amazing. High bank, red clay, super fast. The interesting part to me, up in the north, we don't see the hype that there is here. It's just so different. There was vehicles all the way around the outside of this speedway, backed up, tailgating. The pit grandstand was packed. There's just people everywhere. It was really cool to go to. That was a great way for me to kick off 2019.
Tom Ryan over there in the control room right now, and we're going to force him to do something here. Tom, let's give people a sneak peek, if we can, of some of the highlights. Of North Georgia, because the Ultimate Supers were interesting. You can see all those highlights, the full-length highlights, and I think we have the entire race up. A lot of fun. There is Brandon Overton in the number 2 car for Joey Coulter, Tyler Millwood in the number 31. There's Shane Clanton, the former World of Outlaws late model series champion, was there on the red clay as well. Just some good racing, and Tom picked out the worst portion of it, honestly. Donald McIntosh in that number 7 machine, Corey Hedgecock in that black car. Look at this. Oh, my. That's the worst part. Well, it was a lap prior to that, but, just 2 and 3 wide racing, this doesn't even depict the best, part of this race. At one point, Michael Page might have checked out.
Wide a couple times?
Yeah, 3 wide racing around that racetrack.
The track looks awesome.
How do you keep your composure to cover this event when you're taping this? And you did a darn good job taping this, Darrell, but how do you do that when you're just getting so excited? Because I know you're a true, passionate short track fan.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty exciting. Sometimes it helps to have the announcer in your ear, and sometimes it doesn't, because there's so much going on during that race. And luckily, I had just panned back through and caught some great battles that they weren't really talking about because they had other stuff going on. It was super fun. Can't wait to go back there.
Well, we'll talk to Michael Page coming up a little bit later on in the show. I believe he's coming on around the 9:20 hour here on the program. So still about an hour and 20 minutes from right now here on the Morning Bullring. But I want to talk to you, Darrell, about a couple of other things as well. What's going on in the New York, Pennsylvania region? You're our editor up there in that portion of the country. What's going on with the modified scene right now?
Well, the modified seat in New York is a little bit different. We're not really sure what's going on this year with the Race of Champions Modified Tour. I know Joe Skotnicki's working real hard trying to get those loose ends finished up for the year.
We looked last week, and we went on track websites, and what did we find? Around 6 events overall?
Yeah. Yep.
So 2 at Lake Erie that we found.
Jukasa.
We found Summit Hillside, right?
1 at Hillside. And
I'm
two
putting you
at
on the spot here. 2 at Chemung. So
Yep.
there you go. We know that there is a semblance of the Race of Champions pavement modified series, but the full schedule not released yet. We know that Joe and Amy Skotnicki working hard on that, but we are eagerly anticipating what that schedule is.
Yeah, the other part of that, I mean, a lot of the modified guys on the ROC Tour have B mods, and for the ROC Sportsman, that's kind of an up-and-coming series that we haven't really put a lot of focus on yet, but there's a lot of potential to grow that, I think. They've already got a lot of different tracks involved in that aren't on the ROC Mod Tour. I think they really ought to look at maybe scaling back the modified stuff a little bit because it costs so much, get more guys involved with a Sportsman, and have bigger fields, bigger crowds, and maybe just get a better event that way.
Hey, we've seen it work on the dirt circuit. Listen, big block modifieds are awesome. 358 modifieds are pretty cool too. But the droves of Sportsman modifieds in that area is pretty impressive. What is the take on that up there in that part of the country in the Northeast?
Yeah, I mean, the modified thing is just so expensive. A lot of guys have scaled back to a Sportsman, or I think because there's not a lot of modified races, they go get a Sportsman so that they can go play more and just have fun. A lot of these guys just love to race. So, to have only 6 races on a schedule, they're going to find something else to do. I don't know why we don't have a crate sportsman class up north on asphalt. You look at crate sportsmen in the north on dirt, and there is hundreds of cars. They're everywhere. There's 30, 40 cars at most tracks. I know Fulton last year had events that had over 100 cars. Why hasn't anybody tried it on asphalt?
Yeah, it's definitely something to pay attention to. Of course, there are the 602 modifieds down here in the south, something that Renee and Darren Hackett are trying to build a little bit. You seem a little bit melancholic right now. Okay, are you pumped? What are you pumped up for this year, Daryl? Come on, we got to get you excited.
I'm ready to cover more dirt late model racing. That was awesome.
Yeah, you got to go to Cherokee. Did you get to go to Cherokee?
I got to see Cherokee. I did not get to see a lap there, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You didn't get to count the track.
Yeah, no counting the track.
How many tracks are you up to?
I got to get my official list done, but I think that North Georgia was 100.
Oh, look at that. You hit the century mark.
Look at the face from
How about
Keeler.
you, LaJoey?
I don't even know.
You
I don't
know?
have time to keep track of that. I gotta go.
I
to
did
another
on a
racetrack.
plane on a red eye once when I couldn't sleep.
You ride on a lot of planes, so
Yeah.
you got a lot more time to sit there.
Yeah, 281. The boys in the shop actually made me do it because Rob Blount, Mark Keeler, they would all just talk about how many tracks they've been to, and I've been to 281. So I'm looking forward to a couple of new tracks coming up here in the next month. Daryl, always awesome, having you with us as part of the Speed 51 team. And I know you're looking forward to going to Hagerstown Speedway in a couple weeks for the Ultimate North Opener.
Yeah, I get to add another track to the list there, and then actually before that, I get two more out at Atomic and Brownstone.
It's going to be a lot of fun for sure. Daryl Canfield joining us here on the Morning Bullring, and we're going to take a quick break here on the Morning Bullring. Coming up on the other side, we'll get you caught up with all the news. Kendra Adams is in the house, and then we'll have Augie Grill on the line, the big winner at Montgomery Motor Speedway this past weekend.
Speed 51's Video Network, where the battles are legendary. Get the full picture on short track racing. We'll take you behind the scenes.
He's just a meathead. He's always the same way.
Your track, your driver, your sport, your passion. Dirt, late models, modifieds, and more. Race highlights, recaps, interviews, and thousands of on-demand videos. Speed 51 Network, short track racers' home for the best video coverage.
500 winner, it's New Deal time at East Bay.
Bonepaw for the third time this week.
Brandon Shepard. He wins all 4 World of Outlaws events.
Scott Bloomquist.
The big win in the Pro Late 100 tonight.
Timmy McCready in the World 100.
Chase Purdy wins. Fans, it's almost time for the biggest super late model race this side of the Snowball Derby. It's the 43rd annual Hardee's Rattler Weekend, headlined by the Hardee's Rattler 250. It all happens March 15th, 16th, and 17th at South Alabama Speedway in Off, Alabama. Defending race winner and rising NASCAR star Harrison Burton will be back to defend his title against some of the best super late model racers in America. March 15th, 16th, and 17th at South Alabama Speedway in Off, Alabama. Be there!
I cannot wait to see the Rattler, that famed super late model and pro late model event with the Baby Rattler on Saturday night. There in a couple of weeks at South Alabama Speedway. That will be a pay-per-view style broadcast on Speed 51. So if you can't make it to that area, and we definitely suggest it's a bucket list for anybody, you need to go to South Alabama. But if you can't, you can watch it live on Speed 51.
The race is great. The broadcast is going to be great. The announcers, meh.
Yeah, Ryan McCullough. it's he's got the last name of a chainsaw. Okay, that's all I have to say. The comments keep on coming in. By the way, Paul Fletcher wants to remind us that the Wheelman, that series, the Florida Sportsman Series, is a 602 series. So, and they have some great fields, and they're really growing. We'll have a lot of those races live on the Speed 51 Video Network. So, things just keep on coming in. Jeff Cooper talking about some great racing at Montgomery Motor Speedway on Saturday night. We're going to be talking about that in just a moment. But right now, Mark, it's time for the news. Cue the music. Here's Kendra Adams.
Okay, so first of all, I thought we were going to get some cooler music in here. I still like it, but we could have some cooler music.
I like how Bob builds you up, and then it's like, okay, I'm here.
Okay, that's fine. Whatever. No, it's cool. I can't wait to replace you one day, Casey.
I mean, that's fine. Seats right here.
Okay, so back to a bunch of the live pay-per-views that are coming up on the 51 network. So there's the 43rd Rattler 250, and that's at South Alabama Speedway, and that's going to be the opener for the Southern Super Series. So that's going to be a really great race to watch. I'll probably have to watch it from home because I'm going to be at home. Sadly, I won't be able to see that race live. And then from this past weekend, the Sunday show for March Madness was moved to March 24th. So that's going to be the Southern All-Star Dirt Racing Series opener with the super late models, and we're going to have that on Speed 51 on the network, and their video highlights for the rest of the March Madness weekend that had already happened are up on the network already.
Absolutely. The actual March Madness Southern All-Stars Dirt event is actually going to be a pay-per-view style broadcast.
Right, and then one of the pay-per-views that I'm very excited about is the super late model opener for the Blizzard series, which is Friday, March 29th, and that's going to be at Five Flags Speedway. And there's so many other events for 2019 that are pay-per-view, but there's so many that are free for premium members of the 51 network, which is only $9.99 a month and $7.99 a year. So I know a lot of people that were messaging me like, hey, how do I see the Alabama 200? I was like, get your subscription and it's free. So
yeah.
Can she repeat the prices?
$9.99 a month, $7.99 a year.
$79.99 a year.
$79. Sorry, I thought I said
that. Big discount.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You'd have more
people
signing
that.
up
Maybe
for a
I
year.
skipped over it a little quick.
Do they not have math in Canada?
They do. I'm just not good at it. I'm just not good at it.
Neither am I. Trust me. Math is my worst subject. But that's Kendra Adams. Is that what you got for us? You're going to come back?
No, I got
you got
a lot
more.
I got
come
a
on.
ton more. So Alabama 200, Augie Grill led 198 of their 200 laps. That's his fifth win there. And Bubba Pollard was right there with Grill until he had motor issues on lap 170, just cutting his race short. And then Casey Roderick came out of nowhere with about 60 laps to go, and he finished second right on the back bumper of Augie Grill.
About?
Yeah.
I saw you look at Casey, and I'm like, what is he going to make fun of me for right now?
Hey, we love it. So, you got any more? Or
I do.
Okay, tell you what, we're going to break you right now.
Okay.
We're going to come back because that's a perfect segue to go to the PFC Performance Hotline where Augie Grill is on the line. Augie, welcome to the Morning Bullring, buddy.
Thank you, Bob. Good to be here.
Yeah, awesome win the other night. Dude, you're on a little bit of a hot streak. I know we've talked about this, the last couple of years, haven't been Augie-like, but now already, I believe it's 3 wins already this year, a modified win, 2 pro late model wins. Is Augie Grill back this year?
That's what I'm hoping for. I've been working my tail off to try to get back, and maybe I finally hit on something that's going to work, and things are looking up.
Yeah, I mean, what can you probably don't want to give away all your secrets, but as Bob said, past couple of years, I mean, not making the Snowball Derby was a kind of a big shocker to me. And then this year you come out blazing hot. So what changed? Did you find something, or did you finally just start putting effort into your own program rather than helping everybody else?
Just a culmination of a few different things. Just working on some new stuff. I'd like to thank Marty Lindley with GMS Racing. He's helped me a lot over the winter, just giving me some ideas on what to do, and just taking the time to put it into motion. It really is what has changed. Not making a snowball. That was a pretty down time for me. I feel like I was always that was a pretty easy race for me to make, and to not make it, that was a shot in the face. So. I know I need to do something, and like I said, a little help I got from Marty has really been big.
We're talking to Augie Grill, the two-time Snowball Derby champion and now five-time Alabama 200 winner. But just getting back to Marty Lindley, because I spent a lot of time with him throughout the years, through his driving, also lately as his crew chief over at the old MDM Motorsports. I'm saying old MDM. They were only around for a couple of years, but they're defunct now on the ARCA series, and he helped a lot of people. But, not to give specifics, but what areas did you have to work in with Marty, and what was he able to lend to you to give you some insight on how you needed to improve your race car, Augie?
Just some front end geometry things. I've kind of been lazy on change. I kind of learned that from my dad. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, not necessarily broke, but just hadn't been working as good as it used to. And Marty's really up there and knows his stuff pretty good, and he just kind of gave me some ideas that's working on those heavy cars, and I applied it to the late model, and so far so good.
That's pretty cool. I love the fact that you're back, you're winning. The Grand American Race Cars seems to be doing a little bit better as well. So we look forward to seeing what's to come for Augie Grill this year. But let's talk about that Alabama 200 a little bit, because anytime, at least lately, Augie, when you can stomp that Ronnie Sanders 18, beat Casey Roderick, that's a good thing. How'd you get her done this past weekend at Montgomery Motor Speedway?
The car was just really good. And right off the trailer, we made a few laps on Friday, and I made just a couple little adjustments and went to bed Friday night pretty happy. And then wanted to do one little thing in Saturday morning, and went at the racetrack and got that done. And laps, I had a really good race car, so we just went from there. And like I said, the race started, and I was in ride mode for, I don't know, the biggest part of the race, but and Bubba was too. He wasn't pressing the issue at all, so we just kind of rode along there. And when it was time to race, I had a little something left to race, and I believe I might have been a little better than Bubba anyway, but he fell out, and I wasn't really able to race him. And Casey was he took tires like 30 laps later than I did, and he had a little bit left in the tank there at the end, but I feel like if it had gone another 8-10 laps, I'd have probably started pulling back away from him. But hats off to him. He could have roughed me up a little more than he did and got by me, but he raced me clean, and I was able to bring home the checker flag.
Yeah, it was a great race. I mean, you and Bubba kind of duked it out for a little bit before he fell out, and Casey had a strong challenge there at the end. But first time this race has been moved to the spring. How'd you feel about it? Was it better, different? I mean, what are some feedback that you have after the race weekend?
I feel like it was a great move. Wasn't sure how it was going to work out, but I mean, the crowd was great. That's the biggest car count he's had there in a long time. And I think there's buzz about it, because that was the only race this past weekend that I knew of. So I think it was a great move, and it was a lot cooler. I know the last one in last September, it was still pretty hot, and it was in the daytime as well. So, anytime a promoter's willing to take a chance, I'm all for it. And luckily, I think it worked out for Stan.
The highlights of the Alabama 200 will be on the Speed 51 video network at 5 p.m. today. We keep on having questions and comments come in. Augie Grill and Jeff Cooper just said, man, that was some good racing. Exciting at the end. Augie was in a league of his own on Saturday night. But I want to know a very important question, Augie. You're now, I believe I read, a 5-time winner of this race, the Alabama 200. But was that the first Big Bear trophy you've received from this race?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure when they went to hunt for the bear for it, but I don't know. I've been in position to win it 2 or 3 times, and just something happened, and are just not good enough. But yeah, thankfully I had a good enough car this past weekend and was able to get it.
So where's that trophy right now?
It's actually still in the truck and trailer. We got home late Saturday night, and I was pretty tired, so I napped in the truck for a little while, and I forgot all about it. So I'll get it home next couple of days and be able to sleep with it.
Well, tell you what. I know you're not on Twitter, okay? But when you get a chance, take a picture of you and that trophy in your house, text it to me so we can let everybody see where that trophy has landed in your place there. Certainly, because everybody it was very excited about that win, Augie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I noticed one thing. Anytime you say I got a very important question, it's usually not that important.
True.
But speaking of actual
Well, I can
important,
definitely make that happen, Bob.
yeah,
Okay, thank you, buddy.
actual important questions. We have people raining in on Facebook. People have been wanting to talk about the Alabama 200 all morning. Dennis Fegley, Augie, he asked Augie, "Are you going to be in Nashville in April? You're going to be running the 300?"
That's my plan. Luckily, Martin Latulete with Frameco is willing to give me a little help to go that race. So it makes it eases the pain of the expenses and everything. So yeah, that's going to be my plan.
I think that's pretty cool. And Martin and that group up there are die-hard racers for sure. So going to be neat seeing you there. How much, I know you mentioned your dad a little while ago, Frankie. I love seeing him, saw him at the Derby this past year. You guys can tell some great stories. The Grills certainly can through all their time and history in racing. But how much does a place like Nashville, a lot of people actually chiming in because we started the discussion this morning a little bit about, we didn't mean to go in this direction, but about some of the Cup guys supporting the short tracks and then, talking about some of the short tracks that they should go to. And Nashville was certainly one of them that a lot of people want to see the Cup Series go to. But how important is Nashville for the Grills, your family, on what that has done for short track racing, and why do you feel that way?
Yeah, it's a cool place. I mean, it's just got so much history, and I don't know, a lot of great racers have come from racing there over the years, and I'd like to say that my dad's cars and my cars have had a really good history there. So yeah, it means a lot, and I applaud the Formosa family for trying to get things rolling in that direction. And yes, that would be the greatest thing since sliced bread to me to have a Cup race there again. Just like it is, though, not paved, just let them race like it is. That would be awesome.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. Let us know on social if you agree with Augie Grill that the Cup Series should be going to Nashville. Hey, 300 laps. They made a little bit of a change. They felt like 2 400-lap races would be a little bit too much in 1 year at Nashville. What do you think? How does that change things up a little bit, the 300-lap distance coming up in April at the Fairgrounds Speedway Nashville?
It's, I mean, honestly, as a racer, difference in 300 and 400 laps isn't that big of a thing. And I hadn't really heard about payoff if that's changed or not, but
we'll find out for you.
What's that?
I said we'll find out for you.
Okay, that'd be great. But yes, the wear and tear on a race car difference in 300 and 400 laps isn't that big. So if it's still 400, that'd be fine, and they moved it to 300, and that's fine too.
Moving forward this year, we've already seen you go to Speed Weeks, which we haven't seen a lot before. Are we going to be seeing anything new with that 112 this year, or are you going to be pretty much running the same old schedule that you've been running for years?
Well, I like to try to have plans at the first of the year and kind of go with that, but it's so hard anymore. I'm kind of a one-man show at the shop most of the time, and I would like to say I'm going to go to every super race there is this year, but just kind of play it by ear. I'm planning on going to the Rattler for the super race in a couple of weeks, and then according to how it goes there, we'll go to Pensacola for the first Blizzard race, and then so on and so forth. I will say Rick Polero at R&M Install has been gracious enough to offer up his car a few times here and there, and I believe we're going to try to do the Jukasa race with it this year. So and that's car ran at Speed Week. So the future is bright, I think, if I can keep the ball rolling and keep things moving in the right direction.
That's pretty impressive for sure. We'd love to see you up there north of the border. We will have that race as a pay-per-view on speed51.com. By the way, I got 2 quick questions for you. Are you going to Pensacola this week? Will I see you there for the ARCA race, or are you just going to watch it on MAV TV?
No, actually, I got some friends coming down that are buying one of my cars, and Jeff Versek and Todd Jackson from up north, basically the UP in Canada. But I'm gonna hang out with them a little bit and probably have a few beers and let them buy a race car. So I was really hoping I could, but I don't know, business is a little more important than going to a race that I don't have anything to do with.
Hey, listen, have a few beers. Jim Trado and I will be in the booth. We sound a lot better on MAV TV calling the ARCA races when you have a few beers in you. So,
yeah, that's for sure.
Hey, the business, you mentioned the business. How's that going with the Grand American race cars?
Well, I'll be honest with you. The last few years have been pretty slow. I think there's a little buzz right now, and I'm busier than I can handle. But that's really the way I like it, and that keeps the bills paid a lot easier. So I think things are looking up.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on the Morning Bullring, Augie Grill, and a big congratulations to you on that Alabama 200 victory.
Thank you, guys. Thank you a lot.
You got it. Augie Grill, always fun to talk to him. I love people that have the passion for short track racing, have been around for a while. Augie Grill certainly has. Those highlights for the Alabama 200 at Montgomery Motor Speedway will be up at 5 p.m. on the Speed 51 video network.
It's cool to see if this can keep going, that Augie's back.
Yes.
I know it's probably makes Mark Keeler giddy.
That's another one of his boys.
I leaned over to Tom and I said, "Man, if Bubba Pollard and Augie go up to Jukasa and you add one or two more names, it's going to be like a border war up there. It's going to be a pretty cool event."
You know who could be going up there? I don't know this for sure, but I mentioned his name earlier today, Justin Marks, and apparently the cat is out of the bag. He has actually purchased a new super late model. He texted me a couple weeks ago asking me for some super late model schedules, and that will be coming out this week on Speed 51. All of the schedules for the entire year, dirt or pavement, modified, super late model, you name it, the big races, it'll be on the PFC schedules on speed51.com. But Justin Marks tweeting this morning, he's going late model racing, pavement style. Check it out. We'll have more to come on that story this week here on Speed 51. We'll be right back on the Morning Bullring.
The big win in the Pro Late 100 tonight.
Timmy McCready in the World 100. Chase Purdy wins. Speed 51's video network, where the battles are legendary. Get the full picture on short track racing. We'll take you behind the scenes.
He's just a meathead. He's always the same way.
Your track, your driver, your sport, your passion. Dirt, late models, modifieds, and more. Race highlights, recaps, interviews, and thousands of on-demand videos. Speed 51 Network, short track racers' home for the best video coverage.
Hey race fans, download the new speed51.com app today. Breaking news, feature stories, the Unfiltered podcast, live race coverage, schedules, and more right at your fingertips. Download it today on iTunes and the Google Play Store.
Welcome back to the Morning Bullring, 8:25 in the morning. We're only 5 minutes behind schedule. That is a record, Casey LaJoy.
Well, yeah, maybe at this point in the show, we have started shows and stuck to schedule, and then something will happen and blow it all out of the water.
It's usually Mark Keeler talks way too much.
I was going to say it's Bob saying one more question, and then saying, well, maybe two.
Yeah, I just did that actually for Augie Grill. But you get these people on the line, and we follow them on Speed 51. We go to some of their races because we split up. We're not one crew that goes to every race, and you don't get the opportunity to talk to them. So hopefully you can understand for the Morning Bullring, we're just a couple of short track fans, and we're interested like you watching or listening while you're having coffee, brushing your teeth, getting ready for work. Maybe you're at work and cheating and watching the show. We don't care, honestly. Do it. Spread the word, too. Share this Facebook post. We're going to have giveaways. If you share this Facebook post today, we're going to be giving away a More Short Tracks shirt. So anybody that wants to be registered for a More Short Track shirt, certainly, just share the post and spread the word. This show is free. It's raw. It's just, a short track discussion. That's all it's going to be, and it will remain that way on Speed 51. So hopefully we can give back to the short track community.
Side note, this hoodie's comfy. I don't know what you started doing in 2019 with the hoodies, but they're like comfy this year.
Different fabric from Arizona sports shirts.
I like this one. I'm not a fan of the camo. I'm just not like a real tree camo person. I like digital camo, and this has got some carbon fiber in it.
It
cool.
does.
Well, I like digital camo.
I like camo. I'm a big camo guy.
It's because you're like a redneck. You're a transplant.
Absolutely. I am.
Don't ask him where that shirt came from.
Yeah, this shirt came from Tractor Supply.
Yeah, I could see that.
Hey.
Go ahead, tell the story.
Yeah, so this is actually great because it was one of my first events working with Bob, like side by side, and we're up in Hickory. And I mean, it's Bob Dillner from TV. This was like 4 years ago. We go into Tractor Supply to get some stuff, and he's like, "Oh wait, I got to go find an Easter shirt." And I said, "Do what?" He said, "I got to go."
It's the day before Easter, by the way.
Yeah, he's like, "I got to go find an Easter shirt." And sure enough, he went to the rack and bought. And all I
That
kept
is an
thinking
Easter
is,
shirt.
I said, if everybody knew that, Bob Dillner, from Fox and NASCAR and all that, he's buying his Easter Sunday shirt at Tractor Supply. I said that was just awesome.
So the continuation of this shirt story this morning.
Oh, yeah.
And it's interesting. So I take a selfie of the few of us here on our Studio 51 set. And the first text I get, first comment, I get a text from my wife saying, "You've already worn that shirt on the air on the Morning Bullring."
I've worn this hoodie. I'm starting to run out of stuff to wear. My closet's not that big.
So she said she's going to be in charge of my wardrobe for the Morning Bullring, which I appreciate, Angie, honestly, because I can't keep track of anything. I can keep track of the next show. In Cup, they always ask me, "What's your favorite show? What's the coolest show? What's the best show? What's the most important show?" And I'd always say the next one.
Yep.
And that's truly the case. I don't care whether we're doing a street stock race, a Legends car race, a dirt late model race, a modified race, whatever it is, that next race is the most important one. Next show as well.
Yeah. You're always looking forward.
Kinda
You're
like-
nonstop.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of like the next guest, because now we're 8 minutes behind.
Oh,
schedule.
okay. Well, we want to find out a little bit about this guest. We're going to join Devin Morgan on the line, the PFC Performance Hotline this morning, because Devin, you're the big winner, Greenville Pickens Speedway. You got some money this past Saturday night or Saturday. How was it getting that win at Greenville?
It was great. It was a great race. And, definitely the longest race I've ran in a car, but it was exciting from lap 1 to lap 125.
Here's what's interesting. You mentioned the longest race you've run. I've been following Devin Morgan on Twitter here for the past couple of years, and he's a karting kid that went to do a little dirt track racing and now is doing some pavement racing as well. The limited late models did battle. It was supposed to be like $10,000 to win on Saturday night if they got to a certain car count, but with 15 cars, how much did you win, Devin?
We ended up getting $6,000 for that.
Still a good payday for sure.
I want to know, Bob, how'd you come across Devin Morgan on Twitter?
Well, Devin, I'm going to be honest with you here because so Devin at one point you like tweeted me or something, and I'm like, oh, cool. He tweeted me. I said I'll give him a follow, right? So honestly, it's Devin Morgan Racing. And I'm being honest with you here, Devin, and I apologize for this, but I thought it said Devin Moran from the dirt late model world.
This morning, you don't know how many times I've skinned over his name, and I've looked and I've said Moran, looking at Devin Morgan.
But I continue to follow him, and it's a great way. Social media is so bad in some ways, but this is a great way, and I'm being honest with you, Devin. I followed you. I continue to follow you, and I see now what's going on. And honestly, the only reason I knew about this Greenville race, because honestly, they did a poor job at advertising it, is because, Devin, you tested there, and you put up a tweet of your car going around the racetrack, and that's the reason why I knew there was a big limited late model race at Greenville Pickens Speedway. So here's what we're going to do. Not a lot of people know about Devin Morgan. So we're going to ask you some questions right now. How old are you? Because we can't even find you on 51's third turn. So
and they have everything on everybody.
Timmy Q's got to do a little better job. How old are you, Devin?
I am 17 years old.
17 years old. You still in high school?
Yeah, I'm actually sitting in the school parking lot as of now.
Are we going to make you late for school?
This is more important.
I like that. That was a great answer. Great answer.
Oh, boy. So you're already missing first class?
Yeah, which my teacher was at the racetrack anyways, helping another driver. So I get to kind of go in there and brag to them.
You just tell them, listen, I was on Speed 51, okay? So that'll give me my excuse for the day. What class are you missing, just so we know?
Mechatronics.
What is that?
Is that like what? Is that like Autobots?
I'm actually at Career Center right now, which is separate from the school, and they have like classes like engineering design, veterinarian, cosmetology, mechatronics, carpeting, a bunch of different stuff.
Hey, dude, I think that's a cool thing. My wife and I talk about that all the time. We need more people, to go into stuff like that. So I applaud you wholeheartedly because we're missing that from today's society to some degree. The most important question, what's your favorite movie? Racing movie.
It's got to be probably Talladega Nights or Days of Thunder.
Talladega Nights.
So do you like talking about baby Jesus, or do you like talking about not
Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman. Oh, from Days of Thunder. There you go. Yeah, I like that.
I like talking about the special match tires.
Yeah, from Harry Hyde.
So did you have the special match tires from Harry Hyde Saturday at Greenville Pickens Speedway?
Actually, that's what my crew chief Case Thomason came on the radio said. Under caution for that last break, he said we got special match tires down here for you, and you should be all right.
Well, Devin, I don't know.
That's
much.
awesome.
Yeah, I don't know much about you. I've seen that you're primarily from the go-kart background. I mean, how many races have you been running late models? Where'd you get this late model from? Are you running for a team? Is it your own team? Just kind of fill us in on where you're at right now in your late model career.
Well, 2017. I ran a 1986 KLB rear steer car, about 3 races, just trying to, see if I like the asphalt stuff or not. And we went out and bought our own car from Bob Root, and I really enjoyed it. We had some top 5 finishes the last race of the year. I got pole and ended up getting turned, but kept it off the wall and came back to finish 3rd. And then last year we ran a full season. I was able to win 6 in a row. Right off the bat, and then I got into an incident, and we had some top 5s and 3s, and I actually won the championship last year, and my own stuff, and then we had a 1 race deal that we were able to come through with sponsors with Hot McCall for this past weekend.
So I'm watching or looking at your Twitter page right now, and you see a dirt car on there. That looks like a cool Camaro. Where did that come from?
Yeah, last year we went and bought that deal and got working on it because we've been running a pure stock car for my dad's buddy Barry Thornton, and I actually enjoyed the dirt a whole lot, so we went out and bought our own car for me to be able to run.
Where are you going to run that thing at? Cherokee, Carolina, places around here?
Yeah, we'll be running around here. TRs went full Sika Crate Sportsman rules, so we'll be running it there for sure. Cherokee, maybe Carolina, maybe Harris, and then we'll definitely be there at the big Charlotte dirt race at the end of the year.
At Devin Morgan 12 is his Twitter handle, and it's Devin with an O, by the way. Devon. So definitely follow you there, and I learn a lot about him through Twitter.
Thanks, Devin Moran.
There you go. I want to know, for somebody like yourself that loves short track racing and doing a little dirt, doing a little pavement, having this win and some of the notoriety around it, we have the short track draft presented by PFC Brakes coming up. You have not actually been on that list in the past. Sometimes we say, hey, if you're winning 1, or 2 races prior to the draft and we're only just a little bit more than a month away, does that help your draft stock, do you think?
Yeah, I think it definitely should help it out. I hope to be on there this year. I looked at it last year, and I couldn't say I was disappointed because I was still a rookie and everything, but I'm hoping to make it this year.
Well, we appreciate you coming on the Morning Bullring, and dude, get to class now.
I will. Thank y'all for having me on.
You got it. You got it. Devin Morgan, big winner in the limited late models at Greenville Pickens Speedway this past Saturday night. Anthony Anders and that team right there, really kind of trying to turn that place around once again. So, nice to actually learn something about somebody. We learned he's 17 years old and he's missing class right now, Casey.
Yeah.
Sounds like something we would do.
I think that's why a lot of people really should utilize their social media, because we talk about how, social media can be used in a bad way, but we got this kid who just, won a big late model race, and we barely even know him. The only reason you know him is because you followed him on accident on Twitter.
Yeah.
So
it was great, though.
But so that,
Good kid.
pump your own stock, bring it out, push your stuff out there, so people like us can see it, and that way, because we're the ones voting in the short track draft.
That's right. We're the ones that need to push on to the next segment. We
We're
got
behind.
more guests coming up here. Burt Myers, Christian Eckes, Michael Page, and a whole lot more coming up on the Morning Bullring.
Super late model race this side of the Snowball Derby. It's the 43rd annual Hardee's Rattler Weekend, headlined by the Hardee's Rattler 250. It all happens March 15th, 16th, and 17th at South Alabama Speedway in Opp, Alabama. Defending race winner and rising NASCAR star Harrison Burton will be back to defend his title against some of the best super late model racers in America. March 15th, 16th, and 17th at South Alabama Speedway in Opp, Alabama. Be there!
Race fans, if you enjoy grassroots short track racing, then Richmond Raceway is the place for you this weekend. It's the inaugural Past Commonwealth Classic under the lights on Saturday, March 30th at Richmond Raceway. See North America's best short trackers, including past super late models, the ground-pounding tour-type modifies, act late models, street stocks, and mini stocks. It's the stars and cars of short track racing this Saturday afternoon, racing for nearly 400 laps of intense action. And fans, every grandstand ticket gets you closer to the action in the DC Solar Fan Grounds. For more info, go to ProAllStarSeries.com. Don't miss it.
From Daytona to Five Flags Speedway, the stars of the ARCA Menard Series are back for the Pensacola 200, presented by Inspector Thermal Solutions. Saturday, March 9th at Five Flags Speedway. The best of the best race for 200 laps, plus all of the locals in the Outlaws and Pure Stocks. The action begins with qualifying at 2, local racing at 4, and the Pensacola 200 at 7 o'clock. For discounted tickets and info, check out FiveFlagsSpeedway.com. It's the ARCA Menard Series at Five Flags Speedway, Saturday, March 9th. Be there!
I'll be there this Saturday at Five Flags Speedway in Pensacola, Florida, the ARCA Menard Series. It'll be live on MAV TV as well. We'll see some of the up-and-coming drivers around America: Chandler Smith, Rafael Lessard, Connor O'Kresick, Christian Eckes, a whole lot more. Michael Self, all going to be there at that racetrack doing battle, and you can watch that live either on MAV TV or Lucas Oil Racing TV. Well, this morning on Twitter, our PFC Breaks Twitter page, we had a poll that said, what would you like to see the boys discuss today? And we've ignored it basically until now, but the results are continuing to come in.
Hold on. Sorry.
Yes.
I just got a text.
Uh-oh.
Christian Eckes said, hey, what's the call-in number?
Tell Christian Eckes it'll come from a 386 number.
We'll call you.
Yes, we'll call you. Yeah. Anyway,
That's great.
what would you like to see us talk about? And a couple of the choices were, and right now, Deegan wins in Sin City. Haley Deegan, a big win there. And that is leading with 46% of the vote. Augie Grill was second with 29% of the vote. The big winner at the Alabama 200 at Montgomery Motor Speedway. And we just talked to Augie Grill on the PFC Performance Hotline. 3% said Michael Page winning the Ultimate Super Opener there in North Georgia Speedway, and then 22% the short track draft. So we got to step up our game a little bit here, and I know a lot of the dirt track fans, Nick Hoffman told us, this came out at like 6:30 in the morning. So we know the dirt trackers really aren't open, and awake at that time. So I'm sure they're going to be chiming in here shortly on the Speed 51 poll. But the short track draft, we'll talk about Haley Deegan. That kind of goes hand in hand because I think Haley Deegan's stock was raised with that big win on the dirt at Vegas last Thursday night.
Yes, it was. I didn't watch the race, but I watched obviously that clip.
We watched.
All over the place.
Is that clip ready? Not ready yet. We're getting
ready.
that clip ready because there's a little bit of discussion there for sure.
What's funny, too, is so she was on practice for the Xfinity Series, and when she was on, she said she's going to be running for Venturini, and she said there's a lot of good drivers over there, Christian X. And I went, it's Eckes?
I've heard a lot of people say that. And Christian Eckes, by the way, Haley, Christian Eckes. But an impressive win that is definitely going to bring her draft stock up. Could she be a potential number one pick? We'll discuss that after we go to the PFC Performance Hotline, where Burt Myers is in the house. And Bert, you're a guy that knows a thing or two about putting the bumper to somebody. Haley Deegan didn't necessarily put the bumper to Jagger Jones at Vegas last Thursday night, but she definitely traded paint a little bit. Did you see that move?
Yeah, I saw the little clip, the last 2 laps.
So what'd you think about it?
They were getting after it, that's for sure, man. As many races as I've ever run in my life, I've never got to run dirt, and I've had opportunities. We just stay so busy with our stuff that I've never got a chance to do it. But, yeah, that was some good racing, man.
So this is not the Burt Myers that I know and love. This is a politically correct Burt Myers that just completely avoided my question. What did you think about the move that Haley Deegan made?
I think the hole was there, and she put it in there and got the position. That's what I think.
There you go.
That's true.
Now, would you have done the same thing?
What did Gretzky say? You miss 100% of the shots you never take. So she took it.
That's right. Absolutely. Would you have done the same thing?
I'm sorry?
Would you have done the same thing?
I got my pants on, don't
I? Absolutely. Big Southern Modified Racing Series event coming up this weekend. I understand as a former SMRS champion, you're going to be there. Tell me a little bit about what you expect this weekend.
Well, we've, I've been racing at Caraway a long time, and we got off there for a while, and when we went to the Fury chassis and the NASCAR spec engine combination, and we got back on track. So I wasn't able to run as many last year because I was up north with Eddie at the NASCAR Wella Modified Tour Series some, but I'm looking forward to this weekend. We're going to go shake the car down, and we're going back real similar to the way we were before. And the last race we ran with her last year was in Orange County, and I had a really good car and won the race. So looking for some good results.
You've won at Caraway a time or two. You're an 18-time winner on the old NASCAR Whelen Southern Modified Tour. That track just seems to fit modified racing. We've seen late model stock cars there. They're okay. We've seen all different divisions there. They're okay. When the modifieds go to Caraway, it's just a different atmosphere. Why is that?
I don't know. It's depends on what day of the week you go. The inside groove is good. Sometimes the outside groove is good. Sometimes you got to run right in the middle. So I don't know if maybe that has a part of it that you just never know what Caraway you're going to get until you get there. So if you got a good car that runs on the bottom and then you get down there where that's a weekend where the upper groove is good, you may be off a little bit, and then vice versa for the other guy. So I guess that's one of the reasons. I've been going to Caraway since I was a kid, watching my daddy race down there, and here I am doing it too. So it usually does put on a good show, a day or night. She'll have a good field this weekend, it being the opener. I think her purse is a little bit more than what she's normally running there. So I'm expecting maybe 17, 18 cars, and hopefully a number one in victory lane.
That's right. Yeah, Bert, as the season goes on, we're used to seeing the usual suspects show up when SMRS goes to Caraway, but as the year goes on, they kind of lose some drivers, and it kind of falls down to the 12, 13 car count range. Where do you see that SMRS could help keep those new drivers coming back, or where do you think there could be some improvement with SMRS?
I don't think it's just a specific thing with SMRS. I think that the cost of racing has gotten so high, and it's the bottom line is the money doesn't grow on trees from promoters any more than it does race car drivers. And I understand the fact that if you can't pay any more purse, I get it. But we've got to figure out a way where it doesn't cost us so much to go race. You're looking at this opening race of the year. You're looking at 9 tires. You're going to have a practice set. You're going to have your 4 for the race, and then you change tire. The first race, I think, is going to pay $5,000. Well, after that, they pay like $2,500. Well, you spent that before you get there, and nobody's fault. It's just been a snowball effect. But it's just the nature of the beast, and it's a sad thing that in racing everything has gone up but the purse. Tires have gone up, fuel's gone up, entry fees go up, pit passes go up. and for some reason the purse doesn't go up. And like I said, I'm not saying this stuff to bash promoters or to bash racetracks. I'm saying this to maybe we can all collectively come together and figure out a great solution to put on a show for the fans and us be able to race and not lose our house payment doing it.
But Bert, you guys down south, and I'm going to be honest here, you guys have gotten a bad reputation. The guys up north, they support the races. The guys down south, in terms of the modified brigade, and I'm a modified person, they don't support the races. I'll give you point blank, an example here. And that was back, 2006, 2007, Mason-Dixon Meltdown, South Boston Speedway. We paid you, at that time, I was co-promoting with Tom Mabry, paid you $12,500 to win, $1,000 to start. And I'm not picking on you because you and your brother, you support a lot. But what is it about the Southern guys? Because we had 26 modified show up for a $12,500 to win race. That's tough for me to say this morning. And we had 26 cars. We see, some halfway decent paying events, and they just don't show up. Why is that?
I don't know. Good question. I don't know if maybe there is some – it's not that it's intimidation when Northern cars show up. I think a lot of guys it's not about the drivers. It's about the equipment that, the Southern teams just don't have the financial backing that they do up north. So maybe if it's a big race, it's a catch-22. Yeah, it does pay a lot to show up, but then maybe some guys feel intimidated because there are going to be some really good heavy hitters there with great equipment. It's the only thing I can point to. I don't have a good answer for you. I really don't. I mean, we try to show up to everyone we can, and I think I've told this story before. My wife told me, she said we were together about 6 or 8 months, and she was following me to the races and stuff when we were dating. And she said, I don't understand something. And she said, you spend more than you make. I said, well, honey, that's racing.
Yeah,
so,
welcome to big time auto racing.
You just try to juggle it and make it work. And, I encourage guys to show up and try to support everything they can.
Yeah, that's why I don't think any of us have the answers. That's why me and Bob ask questions, because we try to find the right answers. We certainly don't have them.
We ain't smart enough.
Yeah, hopefully somebody has the answers down the line. But Bert, you're going to Richmond March 29th.
Or is he?
Are you? Are you going to Richmond?
No. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to miss that. I'm going to be in South Boston for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour race.
I think, honestly, Bert, this is interesting, too, because, I think this is bogus. And I don't know any other way to say it, because that race at Richmond was scheduled for March 29th. And I think the NASCAR Modified Tour is awesome. And I think other promoters and what they do away from NASCAR, you need it all to work. So the date is out there for Richmond, and then all of a sudden NASCAR schedules a date on top of it. As a competitor, what do you think about that?
Man, I think that
this is called being on the spot.
Sorry, Bert.
Careful. I think that in the past that promoters have figured out that whenever NASCAR schedules a race, if you have a race on that weekend or thinking about putting a race on that weekend, that you have to reschedule because it's NASCAR. That's what's usually happened. In this case, it didn't. And I don't want to get in the middle of the politics. The only way I look at it is, as a driver, I'm sad because I can't do both races. I've been to Richmond and watched a modified race when I was younger. I had the opportunity to run the Denny Hamlin Showdown in Dillon's car. I loved Richmond. I wanted to go to Richmond really bad in a modified. But, I have to run the NASCAR race. I don't have to. I choose to run the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour race. I don't want to make it sound like that I'm downplaying the tour race, because I've gone to South Boston and spun and slid and skated around and burned tires off. And now they've got some asphalt down, so I'm really excited to go with Eddie to the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour race at South Boston too. So, it's just it stinks. That's the only way I know how to put it. It stinks. But right now we're choosing to go to the NASCAR race, and hopefully maybe we'll get to go to Richmond sometime in the future.
And I asked you that question because I knew you could handle it, Bert. And I love because the old Bert back in the day might have said the wrong thing, maybe like 15 years ago. But you've gotten very good with your words, and you're one of the statesmen for the modifieds. And I think you hit the nail on the head right there. You said it perfectly, and I think that's all that needs to be said about that. But I want to talk about one more thing before we go. How many championships do you have at Bowman Gray Stadium?
9.
How many does Tim Brown have?
10.
So what do you got to do, dude?
Yeah. Well, I can do simple math. That's one more than I've got. So, no, listen, we've it's really I say this all the time, and I try to make myself believe it, and I just can't. We race so often, and we just stay on the go so often that I don't get a time to sit back and think about it. And we were able to go to the racing preview over at the Winston-Salem Fairgrounds this weekend, and the announcer was talking about the stats between a lot of the old timers and with me and Tim, and it doesn't sink in. It doesn't sink in, and maybe that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing that it doesn't sink in, because that tells me that I'm not ready for it to sink in yet. I'm not done. So, I'm going to go over there this year. Fury is building me a new modified for the stadium this year, and we're putting some efforts together to make this thing as good as we can get it. A lot of my guys ask, you got a car that just won 3 in a row. We brought out a new Fury, and it won 3 in a row at the stadium. Why would you do that? I said, because everybody else is doing new stuff. Everybody else is building new cars. Everybody else is doing their homework. So maybe that's one of the things that's been able to keep us going all these years is being able to just try to stay ahead of the curve and stay on top of our game.
That's right. Well, it is the Madhouse, and you have to stay on top. If you want to compete and be at the top level at the Madhouse, which you've done, obviously, a lot. When is that season opener at Bowman Gray Stadium?
April 20th, I do believe.
April 20th. I have to mark that down. You'll probably send me
Starts
off somewhere.
Starts off with a big 200 lapper, doesn't it, Bert?
Yeah. The first race of the year is always the 200 lap of the Hayes Gillis 200.
That's good.
Won it. I can't believe I should know that.
You've won so many races.
Yeah. Is it like one lap for every middle finger you get while you're there?
Hey, let me ask you that. I've sat down there with my brother Matthew, and I know you and him are good buddies. And, if you come off of turn number 2 at Bowman Gray Stadium, there is a lady and a group of people, honestly, that sit there and they hate you. They cannot stand you and your brother Jason. And every single lap, for 200 laps, they will shoot you, if not the single bird, the double bird. Do you see that?
Well, sometimes. And I think that I've never really let that bother me.
Yep.
I think that when I first started racing, my great uncle Frank used to run around my grandpa, and he said that my grandpa used to say, whether they love you or whether they hate you, they come to watch you race.
That's right.
And as long as they're making noise, you're doing the right thing.
That's right.
And he told me that when I first started driving. So that kind of stuff. I don't know. I guess nobody enjoys being.
You guys think it's funny sometimes, though.
But you just, whenever that kind of stuff happens, you just smile and you wave and you go on about your business. But to answer your question, you don't see it when you're racing, of course. But if there's a caution or a red flag when you're sitting there, and you can hear people yelling and screaming, and if you do look over, you can see some very animated characters. But you know what? That's what makes Bowman Gray Bowman Gray.
That's right.
It's not just the passion that we have as drivers and the passion that the promoters have. It's the passion that the fans have. Those fans come back. I mean, just think about what we're talking about. Those fans come over there every single week and do that every single lap. That's as passionate as it gets, if you ask me.
I agree with you, and I'm sure you've seen my brother. He cheers for you there. Hudson, my nephew, he goes over the wall there. He cheers for you as well. So, the Myers family, we love them because they are passionate. You guys are passionate. We appreciate it, dude.
Yeah, we saw Matt and his family were at the preview this weekend, and I was schooling his son about we were letting him know where the orange front bumper came from. And he said, that one's shiny or something to that effect. I said, yeah, that one hadn't been put into use just yet. So, but yeah, that's cool, man. And you know how much volume does that speak to say that you guys and Matt and people that are involved in big time NASCAR racing still want to come to Bowman Gray Stadium. Just because it's number one, it's entertainment. Number two, it's racing at the same token, but it's just hardcore short track grassroots racing. And I'm afraid that in big time corporate NASCAR America, that's gotten lost. And when you come to Bowman Gray, you can see it every weekend.
Oh, couldn't have said it any better myself. Burt Myers on the PFC Brakes Performance Hotline. We appreciate you joining us, Burt, and we're going to have you back again sometime soon.
All right, guys, we appreciate everything you do for us. I'll be glad to come back anytime.
You got it. April 20th, the Madhouse season kicks off, but the big dance this Sunday. Caraway Speedway, the Southern Modified Racing Series kicks off. Definitely, if you want to see the Mighty Modifieds, head to that track in Sophia, North Carolina. That's just outside of Asheboro. Always a lot of fun at Caraway Speedway with the Southern Modified Racing Series. Coming up on the other side of the break, we got more news, and then we're going to have Christian Eckes on the hotline here to talk about the ARCA Menards Series. Going to Five Flag Speedway. He knows that track very well.
Pod for the third time this week.
Brandon Shepard. He wins all 4 World of Outlaws events.
Scott Bloomquist. The big win in the Pro Late 100 tonight.
Timmy McCready in the World 100. Chase Purdy wins. Speed 51's video network, where the battles are legendary. Get the full picture on short track racing. We'll take you behind the scenes.
He's just a meathead. He's always the same way.
Your track, your driver, your sport, your passion. Dirt, late models, modifieds, and more. Race highlights, recaps, interviews, and thousands of on-demand videos. Speed 51 Network. Short track racers' home for the best video coverage.
Hey race fans, download the new Speed51.com app today. Breaking news, feature stories, the Unfiltered podcast, live race coverage, schedules, and more right at your fingertips. Download it today on iTunes and the Google Play Store.
8:59 in the morning, almost on time here on the Morning Bullring. I'm Bob Dillner, Casey LaJoy. We're getting so many cool comments this morning. Boo Carlisle comes on Twitter, and he talks about, hey, it's his day off from work. He told his wife, we wasn't watching the morning news. He had something better in mind. Lots more positive stuff on this newscast, talking about the Morning Bullring with you and myself. So thank you, Boo Carlisle, for actually tuning in this morning. And a lot of talk, honestly, and maybe we should do a whole show about this. Andy Breedlove talking about just support your local short tracks. That will send a message to NASCAR. And the empty stands. Montgomery stands were full this weekend. Fans were there. Richie Jones says, it's almost like NASCAR is a bully in this regards. Andy chimes back. It says NASCAR don't care about the lower league. I think they do right now, honestly. They got very good. They got very prominent. I was with it for 17 years, and I think there can be, and I know that there's going to be some big-time changes in 2020. I'm not a big fan, but the verdict is still out on this new package. I think they need to go back to more short tracks. They need to go to dirt tracks. They need to get back to the grassroots racing that it was built on with Richard Petty, David Pearson, Bobby Allison, and more. They need to go to Nashville. I think that could be a good possibility for 2020. I think you're going to see a cup race at Iowa next year. I think you're going to see midweek shows. I think you're going to see a lot of changes in that 2020 schedule for the NASCAR Cup Series.
I think what we need also is a lot of the guys that cover it stop drinking the Kool-Aid per se.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I mean,
look at Chase Elliott.
Yeah.
Chase Elliott's quote yesterday, and listen, I love Chase Elliott. I'm a huge Chase Elliott fan. Saw him in his first Bandolera race. His dad, enjoy the relationship that we have with the Elliots. But Chase yesterday, when asked about it, he goes, "Whatever the fans want, I'm happy with."
Yeah.
Okay. Listen.
Great answer.
Give us your honest opinion. You could say that Kyle Busch is snide and sarcastic, and he was avoiding the question.
Crybaby.
Yeah, crybaby. But he certainly was basically saying that he doesn't like it in not so many words.
Right.
Okay. Denny Hamlin kind of towed the line. But he also said, some instances that he didn't like about this new package. But I think the bottom line is, listen, you got to get back to short tracks, baby. That's the only thing. And right now, dirt late model racing, open wheel racing on the dirt is really thriving. And I want to see pavement do that as well. So the pavement people got to stop the warring, got to stop the politics, got to stop this new body thing that they're warring over, because you have the opportunity right now with NASCAR trying to figure it out. You got it. Stop messing it up, pavement people. Stop messing it up. This body thing is ridiculous. Okay, and that's my opinion, and there's a lot more that needs to be changed within the pavement realm to make it known to the fans and make them desire to want to come out. They're not going to want to hear about body wars. They're not going to want to hear about practice, tires, money. The dirt people, they don't make that known in the public forum, whatever their problems are. They solve it behind the scenes. And that is an issue, and that's my soapbox.
Yeah, you're
in the news.
You're on.
Take it away, Kendra.
Okay, so we're talking NASCAR and we're talking short track. So let's talk about Hailie Deegan winning at Las Vegas on the dirt this weekend in the K&N Pro Series West. She won the West opener after a mechanical failure in the East opener at New Smyrna Speedway earlier this year. And she is the first female to lead the points championship chase in any NASCAR series. And this is her second K&N Pro Series win, where she took the lead on the last lap.
So, is she a candidate for the number one draft pick, Kendra, coming up on the April short track draft presented by PFC Brakes on Speed 51?
I think that she could very well be a number one draft pick. I think that she is not only showing what she can do on track in different cars and different tracks, but I think that she's really good off the track as well. I think she's
well-rounded.
Yeah, she's well-rounded. She's very involved in everything. So I think that she could be a number one draft pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, good one. Okay.
That's a good co-host right there. Keep on going.
Well, yeah, I didn't know if you had
what do you think?
You fired your mic up, and I'm like, okay, Bob, no.
I was reading, by the way, Tim Bryant just texted me my little rant there, and I apologize. I did go on a little rant there, but he said amen. I just want to talk about racing. Bottom line.
So, I don't know. I gotta review. I gotta get the list. When the list comes out, I look at it, and then because you see a name, you're like, oh, I forgot about him. Oh, I forgot about him too.
Well, I'll be on the list.
I say Hailie Deegan.
Are you going to draft
Hailie
me?
Deegan is definitely top 25.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, just
she is top 10, if not top 5 for me.
Well, don't yell at me.
I'm still fired up about my remarks earlier, but Kendra will be on my list because I think she has a charisma like no other. She's got to do a little bit more in her racing this year, which she's going to work hard at. I saw that old new car with the small hoops and stuff, but we won't get into
Bob,
that.
she can't race for when she's down here working for you.
Well, but she's going home.
Yeah,
she's leaving us in about a month. We're going to be disappointed for sure.
We're gonna be doing new stuff.
Listen, Haley's a number one candidate. Chandler Smith is a number one short track pick candidate. I think Majeski, Gilliland, and Harrison Burton were the last 3 number one picks. And the guy that we're going to be talking to on the PFC Performance Hotline in just a second is also a candidate. But I know you have a little bit more news, so we'll speed through this and get to our next guest.
I do have some news. So we already talked to Devin Morgan about his win at the Greenville Meltdown, $6,000 to win, and he was a 2018 Greenville Pickens Speedway Limited Late Model Champion. And so then we'll go over to the dirt. North Georgia Speedway had their Ultimate Super Late Model Dirt Series season opener, where Michael Page led all 40 laps, but he did battle hard with Jason Height. And over to the Toilet Bowl Classic. They had a purse of $5,000 to win their Ironman Late Model feature, and David Siebers was the talent to walk away with that.
Yeah, that was an interesting deal
Toilet
because
Bowl
I believe,
Classic.
and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Pit Road TV actually had the pay-per-view broadcast for that, and I saw something on the Performance Motorsports group or something like that I follow on Twitter, that the winner of the Toilet Bowl Classic has to sit on the porcelain on the front stretch in front of the fans.
That is awesome.
It'd be funny if it was Bobby Pearson. It'd be like the smooth operator on the toilet.
Let's go to the PFC Performance Hotline. And Christian Eckes, 3-time winner in the ARCA Menard Series last year. Christian, if the tradition of winning an event was to sit on a toilet bowl on the front stretch in front of the fans like we saw in the Toilet Bowl Classic in the dirt late model world this past weekend, would you do it, buddy?
Absolutely, dude. I'd do anything for a win.
Oh.
A toilet bowl is nothing compared to that. I mean, come on.
What's the weirdest thing you've done in Victory Lane?
Kiss Big Bill. I mean, there's really nothing you could say other than that. I mean, it's definitely the weirdest thing I've done in Victory Lane.
So what is that like? Were you ready for it when you won?
Well, the first time I was a little bit more prepared because I was a little bit more excited, but the next two, it gets worse and worse as you go. You kind of resent it every time it comes. You hate it even more than you did the last time.
And, of course, you're talking about Bill Venturini, the founder, former ARCA champion that you drive for now on the ARCA circuit. New name for the ARCA Menard Series this year. Have you been practicing that? Like, do you go in the mirror to practice for your interviews to make sure you don't say the ARCA Series or you say the ARCA Menard Series?
Oh, man, I mean, it's terrible. They didn't let us know or anything, so I got to get all my stuff upholstered or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I'm going to have to start practicing here because it's a little bit different now.
I thought it was funny because Kyle Busch was making fun of Chris Bell for saying Camry last week, and then he ended up saying it in Victory Lane. He's like, oh, I'm an idiot now. But, Christian, you're going back to Pensacola, this time in an ARCA car. Talk about how I know you've done some tests in there. How you feeling going in? Do you feel like you already got a leg up on the competition?
Yes and no. I feel like Chandler honestly has more experience there and stuff like that. So there are a few people that have ran there, but to championship hunt as far as that, I definitely have a leg up on Michael not racing there and all the other ones. So I watched the 2016 race a few weeks ago for the first time in a few years, and it's really cool. It's always fun going to Five Flags.
Hey, where'd you watch that race?
On Speed 51.
There you go. Thank you.
I had to buy the race. It was terrible.
You won it and you had to buy it. I think you probably could have texted somebody, right?
What's that?
You probably could have texted somebody, right? As a
Yeah.
former
He
winner of the
probably
event,
he
I
probably
probably would have
texted
given
me.
you it.
Like-
No, he texted me too. I just ignored it, apparently.
Okay. So I'm the second booty call, I guess.
Yeah.
So you mentioned having a leg up on Michael Self. But what I see going into this weekend is a lot of people that have experience in late models at Five Flags Speedway. Rafael Lassard's going to be there, Chandler Smith, Connor O'Kresick. Do you think the late model kids like yourself and so forth are going to be, have a little bit of an edge this weekend, or will the guys like a Michael Self and so forth be able to catch up real quick?
We tested down there not too long ago. I think Carson Hocevar and a few others tested the day after. But it seemed like Michael got up to speed pretty well. So, he'll still be one to beat. But, when the race comes and stuff, I feel like I'll definitely have a leg up. I haven't been there in a while. And last time I was there, I think I crashed. So, I got a little bit of work to do. But, it's going to be the normal stuff for ARCA. Carson Hocevar is going to be fast. And so is Chandler. So, I definitely think they'll have a little bit of a leg up on competition.
So optimistic.
Yeah.
Last time I was there, I crashed.
Yeah. I I've gone to the Derby 3 times. I've crashed twice and won one. So
Yeah, that sounds about
not
right.
good.
If you have any questions for Christian on Facebook, chime in. We'll see if we can get them out to you. But Christian, how much different is it running the ARCA car? I know they're pretty much apples to oranges. Is there anything you could take from a super late model to apply to the ARCA car, other than the fact that you just know the line? But I mean, what can you take from all the laps that you've had there in a super late model?
Really just used to the racetrack and, learning what's good on restarts, what's, just stuff like that. Just normal race things, I think, is the biggest thing to take from it. The cars are a little bit different, from what I can remember at least. So, it's going to be a little bit of a difference between the two, but, as a whole, I think, just learning, how to do good restarts there, because there's just no grip, and saving your tires and stuff like that is going to be crucial.
I think that's really interesting. The ARCA series has not been to Pensacola in more than 20 years, Christian, and you bring up the point, the pavement. It wears out tires. Tire wear is going to be mega important. Can you compare it to any other track that you've competed on in the ARCA series, or is this going to be the most rigorous track on tires that the ARCA series has been to in a long time?
I wouldn't say it'd be the most tire wear. Definitely Salem is just brutal on tires. I'd probably compare it to Nashville. It's pretty rough, but it's not so rough that you're losing a few seconds. I think our fall off when we were testing was about a second within a 50-lap run. So, Salem could get up to 3 seconds. So, I'd really compare it to, like a Nashville or, basically just really a Nashville.
Absolutely. But we got some questions pouring in on Facebook. Mamba, of all people, chimed in. Dylan Smith.
Former co-host.
First, and he's
going to replace you again in a couple weeks.
I know. And he said he better be on your list for the draft.
I got a text
he's on my list
too.
So he asked, who came up with the handshake between yourself and Harrison before the truck race?
It was really a combination of both.
That's one of those very important questions from Bob Dylan.
I love it.
Yeah. I don't even remember when it started. It started like in 2015. We became really good friends after I crashed him in the Rattler.
Wait. The what?
I don't remember if it was 2015 or 2016. And it started there. It blossomed from, just a regular firm handshake to a really extravagant going. We just added the ending where we jump up and push each other away like a few months ago. So it's been a work in progress. It'll probably improve even more here in the next few years.
What about those people actually just criticizing
Right.
you and Harrison? That was just ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean it's whatever, but we're just there. We're having fun. It's what we love to do, and we're just happy to be there. And something to get a little hyped up for practice at Daytona.
I think Joey Logano said it best when somebody asked him about racing and that sort of thing, and he just said Twitter trolls. I think there's a lot of Twitter trolls out there when they were criticizing you and Harrison for having a little fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Christian, you're going to be running full season, and we were talking about Haley Deegan. What are you expecting from Haley running her 6 races, and are you going to fill her in on how to pronounce your last name?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, that's definitely a valued step in a teammate, just being able to say my last name. But, I think everybody at Venturini Motorsports has high hopes for her. I think she's done a really good job in the K&N series so far, and actually working with my old car chief, Kevin Reed, out there. So, I think that she'll do well. I mean, we've proven time and time again that Venturini Motorsports is back. So, I think she'll do a great job.
You know what I'm impressed with, Christian, even though when I go over to Venturini Motorsports, he passes me by in the hallway and doesn't even say hello. But I don't know what that's about, Christian. But
you guys need a handshake.
Yeah, we do. Apparently, we'll have to try it next time. But in fact, I think I'm going to be over there tomorrow to get one last shot or something. But how serious you are, you get that dry sense of humor, so sometimes it's hard to tell when you're actually joking around. But at the same time, you're there at the shop, you're working, you're talking to the drivers, you're talking to the team. Kudos to you. Where did that come from? Was that something you were pushed to do, or were you self-motivated to do that?
It's just I've always thought that it's all about team morale. I think you need to have one designated guy there for team morale, and I feel like I have that role. So we're doing a good job as far as that. Really the second half of the year last year is really when I started taking charge, and I knew that we needed to make some changes, and the second half of the year we really ran better because of it. So yeah, I feel like I'm in the best spot of my career right now, even with the truck and Kyle Busch Motorsports, working with Rudy and stuff like that. I just feel like I'm in a really good spot right now to do the best that I've had in my career.
Well, Christian, we appreciate you coming on the Morning Bullring. I'll see you this weekend, Five Flags Speedway. Saturday will be the big ARCA return to the Panhandle of Florida. That'll be live on MAV TV if you're not in the area. But, Christian, we definitely wish you the best of luck from everybody here at Speed 51. Wish you the best of luck on this championship hunt this year.
All right, man. Thank you.
You got it. Christian Eckes here on the Morning Bullring. I want to remind everybody, actually, that if they are going to Five Flags Speedway, get those tickets early. Call 850-944-8400. 850-944-8400. That goes right into the Five Flags Speedway office, and you can actually buy your tickets, get the reserved tickets for the ARCA Menard Series going to Five Flags Speedway.
Does that spell like 5 flags in numbers, I wonder?
I don't know. I don't think so.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, it would be cool. I think
it'd be like 1-800-5 flags.
So
that's the toilet bowl.
That's the toilet bowl.
Tom
That's great.
insisted that I put this shot on the screen for you.
That is awesome. The toilet bowl winner down there. That is just a cool tradition, and that has to be a nominee for the 51 Short Track Awards for next year as the best tradition in Victory Lane. By the way, we didn't have those awards this year, but
what's funny is Chris Ferguson joined right before we put that picture up too. So
there you go.
Got to see it.
Fergie time. We had him on the Morning Bullring, and we got more coming up. Chris Regal, I believe, is right around the corner. Then we'll have Michael Page, and then we'll just have a little short track discussion and get the heck out of here. We're going to go to overtime. I know it. Casey was right. I was wrong.
It's not even overtime anymore.
We'll be right back here on the Morning Bullring.
Speed 51's video network, where the battles are legendary. Get the full picture on short track racing. We'll take you behind the scenes.
He's just a meathead. He's always the same way.
Your track, your driver, your sport, your passion. Dirt, late models, modifieds, and more. Race highlights, recaps, interviews, and thousands of on-demand videos. Speed 51 Network. Short track racers' home for the best video coverage.
Bowpod for the third time this week.
Brandon Shepard. He wins all 4 World of Outlaws events.
Scott Bloomquist. The big win in the Pro Late 100 tonight.
Timmy McCready in the World 100.
Chase Purdy wins.
Fans, it's almost time for the biggest super late model race this side of the Snowball Derby. It's the 43rd annual Hardee's Rattler Weekend, headlined by the Hardee's Rattler 250. It all happens March 15th, 16th, and 17th at South Alabama Speedway in Off, Alabama. Defending race winner and rising NASCAR star Harrison Burton will be back to defend his title against some of the best super late model racers in America. March 15th, 16th, and 17th at South Alabama Speedway in Off, Alabama. Be there!
Oh, we're getting things stirred up on social media today. Lots of comments coming in about some of our NASCAR discussion, which we just kind of like stepped into. Some comments coming in about some Victory Lane traditions, the Toilet Bowl Classic this past weekend, where the winner actually sits on the porcelain mark. What do you think about that?
I was just thinking because you said we stepped in it, and
Yeah.
it brought me right back to that. It was a really bad pun, and I'm just going to leave it alone.
I was actually trying to do that.
I think
I was there with you.
Yeah.
I think our very own Condog gets a comment of the day so far. He said, at least the toilet bowl winner gets to keep their pants up. That's a win for everybody. Absolutely is. Cody Shaw also asked if Bert has been on yet. Yes, he has. You can see that. Highlights will be probably on demand.
Actually, just go back.
Well, yeah, you can
I think
you
Facebook
can-
Live has a.
If not, we've got it on speed51.com. You can just click the Bullring, and you can go back, DVR any portion. Plus, we'll have the podcast segments coming up within the next day or two. So each individual guest gets their own podcast segment. So if you want to listen to just Burt Myers, and he's worth a listen.
Yeah, well worth a re-listen.
Yes.
Especially when he's speechless,
Yes.
which is great. So kudos to you, Bob, for that, by the way.
And and by the way, the Morning Bullring on Apple Podcasts, on Google Play, it's its own channel. We have the 51 Unfiltered podcast. We haven't had one in a while. It is returning.
You got the little thing, the arms up that people can't
Yes,
see.
we are actually supposed to tape it today. We'll find out if we're going to do that or not, depending on how long we go overtime here on the program. But the 51 Unfiltered podcast will return. But you can download, and the interesting thing about the podcast is you can download the segments you want to listen to. So if you're a pavement fan and not a dirt fan, or vice versa, you can just listen to whom you want to talk to. Mark put his hands in the air.
Yeah.
We're making him a dirt racing fan. I'm telling you what, it's going to be a lot of fun.
You're forcing it. I just owe it. That's the first time I owe $1 to the jar. I forgot to unmute my
There you
mic,
go.
so.
100% short track racing here on speed51.com. We cover Ultimate Supers. The Carolina Clash kicks off. That race will be live this week from Carolina Speedway. That's on Saturday night for Premium Network members only. So if you're a Premium Network member, you'll be able to see that race live, the Carolina Clash at Carolina Speedway. That's Saturday night. We also have the Wheelman Series at 417 Speedway down in Inverness, Florida. Is that Inverness?
No, Inverness
Punta Gorda?
is Citrus County.
So that's Punta Gorda.
417 is Punta Gorda. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, one of those tracks down south. But the Wheelman Series, Steve Dora and his staff doing a great job with that 602 Sportsman Series. Yes, a crate engine inside those race cars, but they put on a fantastic show. That also will be for premium members only.
Yeah, Punta Gorda would be a good track to catch those cars at. If you haven't seen any of the Wheelman, some people hear Sportsman and they think, it's not a late model or that. Those cars, they got the wedge style body, so if you're an Outlaw fan, you're going to kind of see something similar. But Inverness, or now you got me thinking Inverness. 417 is probably it's about the perfect size racetrack for those cars. That a place like that, or even DeSoto and that, it's just going to be some great racing down there. So Alec Jorgensen will be down there, and looking forward to seeing that.
One of the options, if you're in the Carolinas this week, is to go to Southern National Motorsports Park. That's where the Cars Tour kicks off its season this Saturday night. If you're not in the area and you still want to see the race, you can see it on Cars Tour TV. So you can definitely check that out. And right now we're going to go to the PFC Performance Hotline, and that's where one of the top brass from the Cars Tour is Chris Regal. Welcome to the Morning Bullring.
How's it going, guys?
I'm doing good. It sounds like you just woke up, Chris.
No. Usually that is the case. I'm not much for mornings. There's no secret about that. So there's a reason our pits and garage don't open till 11. So yeah, but no, I'm up. I went to the gym, so ready to get a busy week going here.
So I want to know, you look all, sharp and dapper on this shot that we have on the screen. Did you go to Glamour Shots for that picture right there? Because you're looking pretty sporty
I don't know where
right
you're
there.
going to come up with some of these pictures, but, no, I didn't. But, yeah, I do look pretty much sharp as a tack.
All pictures that, if you don't like the picture that was used, take it up with Tom Ryan. That's Tom Ryan at speed51.com. Shoot him an email. No.
Tom at speed51.com.
I like it. But yeah, no glamour shots, just natural beauty shines through there.
So let's talk about the race this weekend. Doubleheader, big money on the line, Southern National Motorsports Park. Fantastic facility, to some degree in the middle of nowhere, but how are things shaping up for this Saturday's kickoff for the season?
Well, yeah, it's this is our 5th anniversary season, and Southern National Motorsports Park, Michael Diaz's track there, there in Kinley, is where it all started 5 years ago. My first ever race was there, and we haven't been there in 2 years, so we're glad to be getting back there. This will be a record purse for us. So far, we'll both got in April, but two $10,000 to win events one for the super late models and one for the late model stocks, 4 tire race, 150 green flag laps, and car counts look just awesome. So very likely, we utilize 20 starters in each event. Very likely that we'll probably send guys home in each division. So really excited. Weather looks like it's going to be okay. Maybe a little cool, but what we can expect when we're racing here first or second week of March in the Carolinas. You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, you must be in Canada or something because you're Canley. I thought you said
Kenley,
Canada.
North
I
Carolina.
thought you were trying to make fun of Kendra.
No.
Because your cell service is breaking up a little bit. But if you have any questions for Chris Regal, hop on Facebook and shoot us one. Chris, you guys have really...
Alan Dietz excluded.
Yeah, Alan Dietz, back her down. We don't want a Matt Weaver Allen 1v1 again.
No, we are going to have at some point, and Chris is accepted, and so is Alan. Both of them are going to come on the morning Bullring. We're going to find a time, and so that Chris Regal and Alan Dietz can be on here, and we walk off and just let them go for a half hour.
We'll put a plexiglass wall right here.
Can we pay-per-view that?
Yes. Oh, that'd be Derby sales
I
right
really
there.
feel like it'll be maybe a little anticlimactic, but yeah, no, it sounds good.
Well, Chris, you guys have really been at Cars thinking outside the box and what to do to get more cars, and you did run Supers full time, back that off, and it's really kind of paid off with getting car count. Where do you sit on all this? Do you feel like, we saw that honestly you backed off your pay for starting to get to pay for the feature win. Do you feel like that's the better move, or do you feel like heard a lot of these guys complain about not getting start pay, but you're bringing them out just to kind of get that big money pay at the end of the day? Is that where you feel like your answer lies?
Well, if you go back once again 5 years ago, the super late models got paid significantly more than late model stock. So we adjusted that, and based on the support we got from competitors. And two, we also learned that what works for one may not work for another. So what we have noticed, we've seen is less is more for the super late models. In terms of schedule, there's a lot of super late model racing in this region and a lot of big events across the country. These guys like to travel. So that's why, we still have a good 8-race season schedule with good tracks. And some heavy purses. About 40 or 50% of our races pay $10,000 or more to win. And two, like I said, with our adjustment there, we that's what we feel that the majority of the super late models, their mentality is that they come to win. That's why they show up. And that's kind of what the approach that we have adjusted based on what we feel their needs are. But late model stocks, we have different programs in place over there, through our Bullring Flow program and things like that, works a little bit better for them. So that's, it's no different than what works for the Cup Series might not work for the trucks and vice versa and things like that. So you're just kind of always, that's our job, is to adapt and adjust based on each division and series and things like that, needs, wants, and desires.
Speaking of the Touring 12, I have a very important question for you right now. And in case he loves when I say that.
Yep, because it's not very important.
How much do you like Lane Riggs?
Oh, yes, on the Touring 12. Well, yes. We like Lane a lot, and he put our model on our Touring 12 page. I know where you're going with that now. So, yeah, that's our, we redid our website and got it mobile friendly and stuff like that in the off-season, and we've got that template there of Lane Riggs. It looks like Lane's on every single one of our drivers in the Touring 12. So, Lane's obviously an excellent spokesperson for the series, and he's also an excellent template man for the series as well when it comes to the website.
I think the Touring 12 is interesting because it reminds me of what the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series does. They don't call it the Touring 12, okay, but they have a program in which they give back to the racers that are part of the Touring Series. It goes back to the ASA National Tour and what they used to do. And here is, just what we're talking about. We're just poking fun here, but Lane Riggs' picture is for every different driver that's on the Touring 12,
Looks
not
good.
only his picture, but his car as well.
Yep.
But here's where you see on the Cars Tour site, the Touring 12. And you got some really good drivers here. Drivers from Junior Motorsports. Justin Carroll is there, last year's KDDP champion. You have the McCaskills on there as well. Of course, Deke, a former champion. Where did this idea come from? And what is the purpose of how you want it to be in terms of the drivers and the fans with the Touring 12?
Well, you're exactly right. That we definitely kind of modeled that off of like the Lucas Oil late model series and things like that. It's no secret that I feel like the Lucas Oil and the World of Outlaws and stuff like that, they kind of got it going on and things like that. But for us, I think one of the big things that they have that asphalt doesn't have, especially at our level, is the consistency of teams and driver in the series year after year. And to me, that's the key ingredient that we need to actually build true fans. So that's kind of the program that we came up with, rewarding those teams and drivers as well that continue to race in their series, give them a reason to come back each and every week and each and every year. When you do the math for each team, it comes to about $6,000 or $7,000 in sponsorship per team that the series is giving back. Through discounts on tires and free tickets and extra bonus money and things like that. So that's gives them a reason to come back each and every week. And what's cool is with the late model program, even if you're not selected for the Touring 12, all season throughout the year, if you run 3 races in a row, on that third race, we add $500 to your purse. So, this year that's going to work excellent with our big $30,000 to win race at Orange County, being the third race of the year. You go to Southern National, then we're in Hickory on March 23rd. You come to that April race there at the Illinois State Nationals at Orange County. Now it becomes not a $1,200 race to start, but a $1,700 race to start for just two tires and a $30,000 $500 to win. So, it's a program that it's totally based on participation, not performance. And these day and age, I don't care if it's Cup Series or us or dirt or whatever, fans and stuff, we all talk about car count. So this is about being there, about being the best.
So is this like the Cars Tour charter?
Yeah, kind of.
I mean, yeah, it's in a way you could say that is it is because for example, we'll use Junior Motorsports. While Sam Mayer last year was one of the Touring 12 drivers, the program is based off the team. So that is actually stays with the team. So therefore, Adam Lindsay falls into that program this year, and that is an asset or a charter type benefit that they can use when they're finding a new driver to fill that seat. So you could look at it that way. I don't think quite the same rules, but a lot of benefits for sure.
Well, Chris, we've talked about Southern National and some of the other events that Cars Tour has coming up. What's the event, honestly, that you're most excited about? I know you got the throwback weekend that's always big. What is it that always gets Chris Ragel's excitement up for the Cars Tour every season?
Well, without a question, a throwback 276. We in 2 years that's just blown up, and that's just a cool event. It's a cool thing. All the participation we get competitors putting that old school paint scheme, and then the fans. You see the fans wearing the old, haircuts and dressing and shirts and things like that. So the throwback 276 is definitely where it's at. We've expanded that to 2 days. We'll do that again this year, bringing a lot of the legends in. The cool thing about Cars Tour and what we do, we don't have those restrictions that you see at Darlington and stuff like that. If Matt Craig wants to change his number, like he did this year and change 53 to honor Jimmy Hensley or whatever, he can do that. So that's probably pretty awesome. But I would say in 2019, without a doubt, it's got to be our Old North State Nationals presented by Visit Orange County, April 6th and 7th, the largest paying late model stock race ever in history at Orange County.
Well, we're looking at your schedule on carsracingtour.com right now, and I do like the new site, by the way. Kudos to the development of that because it has all your pertinent information right there, Chris. But I want to get back to something that I was pretty harsh on the series for a couple of years ago, or maybe even last year on our Unfiltered podcast. And that was some of the gimmicks, like, come in and remove this, zip tie, cut it off and go back out and that sort of thing. And I understood and I applauded you for trying to do something. I just didn't like the implementation of it. Are there those sort of gimmicks again this year? Or are we changing that up a little bit?
Well, I mean, it's. I know y'all talked a little bit about some of the NASCAR stuff this weekend, and what really defines a gimmick and things like that. These days is very opinionated or selective. I mean, are you trying the stuff and doing stuff that that is different? Yeah, we are. We're probably a little bit different. But I guess the biggest thing, one of the things that we did this year is a lot of our big money races will only be four tires, and things like that. We found, by keeping the usage of the tires, down a little bit, to making a competitor, buy another set of tires, whether it be spend an extra $350 to $700 on a set of tires, it didn't really change the racing product. These days we take away pit crews, so we have these, even like the Snowball Derby doing these, controlled cautions. Everybody still, for us, we found in our events at our tracks, everybody still came and put tires on and stuff like that at the same exact time. You didn't have a whole lot of strategy and things like that. So we kind of went into a cost-effective thing in order to make hopefully attract more competitors. But as far as doing things or makes per se, we might have some rules and stuff like that in place. But as always, it's still racing and competition and what we want to see, fans want to see. I mean, we're still going to have knockout qualifying. We feel like that's a pretty cool thing at tracks that can have a big pit road and utilize that. We'll also have some single car qualifying. But so we'll do things a little bit different. That's our MO. That's my MO. So whether it's good or bad or whatever, people are talking about it. So that's what I'm about.
Hey, as long as you're talking, that's a good thing. That's what my dad always said. But the 4-tire races, those are good. I think that's fantastic. Knockout qualifying is always pretty interesting. I was wondering how that was going to go. And, with a lot of the, just the effort that it takes on the engine, I was interested to see how that was going to go. And it went pretty well for you guys. But, just to get back real quickly to the whole, what I was referring to in the gimmick is coming down pit road and having to remove something from a, rear roll bar or something. Are you doing that this year or something of the sort?
No, we actually didn't even do that last year at all. So, no, we're not doing it this year. You know what I mean? That was an idea of something that we thought we wanted to see, get the teams involved, create a stop with that without creating cost. So that's how that kind of came to the fruition. So we didn't do that last year. It was the year before that. We tried some of that stuff. So no, nothing like that this year. So just mainly just straight up green flag laps. With the exception of the big race there at Orange County. Those will be controlled cautions. And for that one we'll do. It'll be a 6-tire race. Everything else is 4 tires, no matter what.
So this year, Casey talked about how last year or the year before that, you had talked about, limiting some super late model races to kind of make that a little bit stronger. You still had 9 last year or something like that. You still have a good amount this year. So it wasn't cut back considerably, but it was cut back to some degree. But I think the interesting thing, around this area, and we've talked about it a ton. Listen, you've talked about it. Alan's talked about it. Speed 51 has covered it from an angle of getting he said, she said type of deal. But, with the Pro All-Star Series cutting back, when you guys started, and and we just have to call it like it is. You came into a territory that they had already established themselves at, and you were trying to enhance the super late model world in that area. Some said it was way too crowded. You cut back a little bit. They cut back considerably this year, and they're not even doing Pass South. They're just calling them national races. But with them cutting back, how does that change the landscape on how you perceive it of super late model racing in this area?
Well, I compare it to, Lowe's corporate headquarters is right here in Mooresville, North Carolina. And then they built a Home Depot in Huntersville. I don't think, is there anything wrong with building a Home Depot?
But there's a lot of people that need home improvement stuff. There's only so many racers to go around, Chris. I'm just trying to call a spade a spade.
My point is just because it's Lowe's territory does not mean, that Home Depot cannot build a store here and let the people choose. I think it really it's no positive or no negative to the Pro Series or us or anyone else or individual tracks trying to try super late model. We are in a most unique region anywhere that does not compare to anywhere in the country when it comes to super late model racing. We have teams in our area that will go 15 hours. They'll go all the way to California, to Irwindale, things like that. There are not that many people that are coming from Irwindale to come here, but you'll have your 4 teams going to, visit Larry out there for a go down, or go to Oxford for the 250, or go to Evergreen. We don't see those people from Ohio and Michigan, Maine like that, coming like that on a regular basis. And that's because we have some of the, rental programs and development programs, especially, which is really rampant in the super late models. So I think that's some of it too, where we're overcrowded, but we were overcrowded with some races, and there may be competitors or teams that didn't even race in our region, didn't support either one of us, or the consistency wasn't there. Once again, you go anywhere else in the country, and you see, 5, 6, 7 people run the super late model series, whether it be CRA or SRL or whatever Pro Stars North. They run there for the championship on a consistent basis. If you look back in the last, 5 to 10 years, when you look at super late model here, race, whether it be past or us or whatever, we're only, either one of us, over the years, are only getting maybe 3, 4, could be 2 people running the full series. And that's just because the region we're in. I don't think it has anything to do with other than that right there.
10-4. Well, I mean, it's an interesting thing, and it's definitely a conversation standpoint because, people have made it a conversation point. But we wish you the best of luck this weekend at Southern National Motorsports Park. Speed 51 will be there, of course. You can watch the race on Cars Tour TV as well. So good luck this weekend. It's going to be a blast there at that unbelievable facility, super late models, and a great late model stock car event on hand with some big money on the line, Chris.
All right. Thanks, guys. You have a good one.
That was Chris Regal, top brass, one of the top brass for the Cars Tour. And definitely kudos to him for answering. Sorry, it's been too long. Answering some interesting questions here this morning because a lot of people do, wonder, what is that between the Pro All-Star Series and the Cars Tour?
You're just putting people on the spot today.
Hey, it's
on the spot.
If
and then
I'm
you said I'm going to ask an interesting question. You asked what'd you eat last Thursday night?
Hey, you want to spice things up a little bit. This is really interesting, and Brandon Paul just showed me this. Doug Coby, the 5-time NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour champion, just actually tweeted this. Dog's got to take a emoticon somewhere, Justin Bonsignor. So he had a 51 and an basically like
it's not R51.
No, not R51. Justin Bonsignor's 51 with a line through that circle like the Ghostbusters did back in the day. And I think that's really interesting. The rivalry brewing between Coby and Bonsignor, and I think we got to have Bonsignor on the Morning Bullring next week to respond to that for sure. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Burt Myers was interesting.
Burt
You know,
Myers.
Justin Bonsignor is
Those
going to be
modified
interesting.
guys don't play around.
No, not at all.
No.
But I understand we have Michael Page on the PFC Performance Hotline right now, the big winner for the Ultimate Super Late Models there at North Georgia Speedway for a second year in a row. Michael, welcome to the Morning Bullring.
Yeah, thank y'all guys. How y'all doing?
I'm doing very well. I watched the highlights on the Speed 51 video network of your performance the other night. Was it as easy, honestly, for you as the leader as it looked to us? Because I was watching the battles behind you, and they were ferocious. But for you, other than some lap traffic, it looked like you were smooth sailing out there.
I mean, it wasn't easy. It's pretty good. The car was good. Just kind of drove itself around there. But, you know, if you mess up one time, you've lost everything you got. So you just have to, it's kind of nerve-wracking to make sure you don't do nothing wrong.
What's it about North Georgia Speedway? 2 wins in a row there, for you now to start the Ultimate seasons from last year to this year. So what's it about that track?
I'm not sure. I've always done good there. It just kind of fits, I guess, the way I drive. And my cars work really good at these small places. I just got to make them better at the bigger places. So that's what I've been
Michael,
trying to work on.
Michael, you've won on the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series a couple years ago. Now 5 wins on the Ultimate Series. During that race the other night, how worried were you with some of those names that were in the back behind you? Because you knew Shane Clanton was coming. Tyler Millwood was there. You had Brandon Overton there. There were a lot of big names. Corey Hedgecock. I mean, the list goes on and on. That was a great field. So how worried were you, and how much were you pay attention to your guy with the glow sticks probably telling you where the traffic was?
Well, I don't. One race is no different than other. Like, really, to me, whatever we all there to win and take it serious. And I guess what I'm saying is that I don't treat it no different if I just go to a normal show, But we do all we can, all of us do, to win anything we race. So we're always worried, and we know if you don't, if you give that guy anything, he's going to take it, and you just gotta be up for whatever, just take it very serious.
Well, Michael, last year with the Ultimate Series, you kicked off with 2 wins back to back, and moving forward, you already did half of that. You won this weekend in North Georgia. Are we going to see it at Dixie? What are your plans for the rest of this season?
I'm not really sure. Me and my car owners are trying to decide what we want to do, and we've talked back and forth a couple different cases, and I'm not sure. I really don't have no help. I have one guy that comes and helps me when he can. So that's the main thing. I do pretty much 99% of it by myself. Especially, I do all of it by myself, and like car-wise until we get to the track, and I have my guy that helps. But it's just tough. I need some help, just at least consistent help where I know what I got to go to the race with.
Well, we know the stream dropped for just a second, Michael, here on our show, but you will be able to hear Michael Page and the entire interview here, and we're back live right now, but you'll be able to hear that on the podcast version as well as on the full version on speed51.com. But, Michael, so many choices to look at. You have Ray Cook's Southern National Series, you got the Carolina Clash, you got the Ultimate Series. So much good racing. Is it more fun for you, honestly, to pick and choose your shows to go to, or would you like to run for that championship and go for say the Ultimate Series?
Mixed feelings both there. I'd like to do a series, but I don't really want to be tied down to nothing, because it's from where I live. There's so many races around me that pays decent and not too far away, and it's just hard to make a decision, without some backing to go with you, because it's just to know what makes sense. It's hard not to go do something that really don't make a lot of sense. And when you pass a race that pays more and, hours closer to home, and you just try to be smart about whatever we do.
Hey, you won that Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series event a couple of years ago. for somebody like you who's a regional dirt late model racer, how big was that for you in terms of putting you on the map and really people starting to, learn who you were and how good you could be even up against some of the biggest dirt late model competitors in America?
It feels good because, especially, I do it all, like I said, by myself. I have no help. Like nobody's got the cars I have. So everything I do, I have to learn on my own. And I have nobody really I can go to ask, what their car's doing compared to mine. And, but it feels good like that. That was my home track pretty much. And like I said, if I was going to win one, it'd have to be there. So it's pretty neat.
Absolutely. And we're going to have to get you to follow at Speed 51 Dirt because we'll be covering a lot of the dirt late model racing in your area of expertise, certainly with the Ultimate Supers, the Carolina Clash, and some other realms of racing as well. Speed 51 will be all part of that. And at Speed 51 Dirt is all of our dirt coverage that you'll see in terms of at-track updates and so forth through the year. So, Michael, you have to check that out for sure. And we have the video highlights and the recap up from North Georgia Speedway Saturday from that Ultimate Super late model opener. You're going to have to check that out on the Speed 51 Video Network. But we offer you a big congratulations, Michael, and we hope to hear your name and see you at some of the tracks that we're at this year and hope that success continues. Of course, the Ultimate Supers going to Tyler County Speedway here in just a couple of weeks. That's going to be a good show. Hopefully we'll see you there, but if not, we'll see you down the line, Michael.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Absolutely. Michael, good shoe. Put on a whale of a show. But as you'll see from our highlights, there was some unreal racing behind that.
Yeah, we got to see a little bit of it earlier on the show, and I'm going to go back and I haven't watched it yet. So I'm going to go back as soon as we're done talking. I'm going to go watch it.
It's going to be fun this year with Ultimate, with Fast Track. We're going to be at, a lot of those events for sure. The Ultimate North kicks off at Hagerstown Speedway there in Maryland. That will be a live event for Speed 51 Premium subscribers only, so you'll be able to check that out on March 23rd. I think the next Ultimate race, I believe, is the 23rd at Tyler County Speedway. Then we'll be going to Lawrence County in South Carolina, going to Dixie there just the day after that. Back-to-back races for Ultimate South. Going to be a lot of fun to watch all that.
Hey.
Ultimate Deep South.
I got a very important question.
Yes.
Are you going to go to more asphalt races this year or dirt races this year?
I think.
Have you done the math yet?
Yeah, it's more dirt races.
Oh boy.
Yeah, more dirt races. Fortunately, all you guys, although you're covering more and more dirt, you keep me abreast of the knowledge, and I get to read the stories and see the videos as part of the Speed 51 Video Network to keep up with more of the pavement scene. And I talk to a lot of the players, but at the same time with MAV TV, going to a lot of dirt racing. I think I got 26. Dirt late model shows for the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series for Lucas Oil Racing TV and MAV TV this year. I'll be going to some additional ones coming up here in the next couple of weeks as well. Going to some Carolina Clash races, going to some Fast Track races. Can't wait for the World Championship, that $50,000 to win Fast Track race at Virginia Motor Speedway in the middle of September. That's going to be a blast. That's going to be on MAV TV, a 2-hour special. Got Short Track America coming up, the announcement of that entire schedule. We've leaked out a couple of shows. The Ultimate Supers, they have a show June 29th at Lakeview Motor Speedway. That'll be in South Carolina. It'll kick off, honestly, Short Track America, and we'll be putting out that schedule, I think, at the end of the week, if not early next week. It'll kick off with Speedfest, that event down there in Cordele, Georgia at Chris Motorsports Park. Both the Pro Late Models and Supers will be part of Short Track America on MAV TV. And kudos to the folks at MAV TV. They have upped the ante this year, going to 20 races as part of Short Track America on MAV TV this year, Mark. And I know they've gotten great reaction from that program, and we get to feature the grassroots portion of motorsports around the country.
Well, absolutely, and it's honestly what everybody said they wanted. Back in the day of Speed Channel, when racing was happening all around the country, and Speed Channel had, a Barrett Jackson auction and stuff like that, and that's what everybody. I mean, I shouldn't say everybody. A lot of the people I know, the short track fans, that's what they were complaining about. Why are we watching an auto auction when there's racing going on? And the amount of racing, I think MAV TV has more short track racing than Speed did at any point in time in its heyday, or even the old TNN. And TNN did a great job with the ASA series and that. But
American Sports Cavalcade.
Yep. Oh, I miss the open of that show.
Yes.
But
I miss the wind tunnel.
The wind tunnel with
Yep.
Dave Despain,
Yep.
fantastic.
But the amount of racing right now on MAV TV, even if it is tape delayed, they've got plenty of live races. Of course, you're going to be live from Pensacola this weekend, and I shouldn't tell you this because you're my boss, but I will have that on my tablet on the side while I'm at a dirt track. But
hey, you're going to have a good time. Carolina Speedway is going to be a great race for the Carolina Clash Series. I know Ross Bales probably looking forward to going there with his brand new Barry Wright machine.
Wesley Outland says Hell's Bales.
Hell's Bales, that's right.
Hell's Bales.
Mark Huey and the team for the Carolina Clash Series will be down there.
You know why Mark doesn't like dirt racing?
Why?
Because it's dirty.
No, it's got nothing to do. Have you seen me? You've seen my
have you
car.
seen his car?
but-
He's got the dirtiest car I know.
But that's one of the.
He cleaned it
worst
for
things.
when we went
Really?
to Appalachia. Yeah.
I
Wow.
cleaned a spot for Casey because we were going to Appalachia, and then I got us stuck in the mud leaving Appalachia.
Hey, by the way, you got to
There's
give
an N in there.
You get
Appalachian. It's Appalachia.
I know, Appalachian. And
I've
there's
been
a
out of
shirt
Boston
up-
too long,
Shirt
so-
up in Boone that says Appalachian, phonetically spelled.
I like how
Anyway,
you said that like James Essex.
yeah, I love James Essex. I can't wait to see him.
How can you not love?
Actually, I want
James
to
Essex?
bring Tom Ryan on the microphone here
No.
because we this past weekend it was interesting because March Madness at Cherokee was supposed to happen on Sunday, pay-per-view. It's going to be a MAV TV broadcast, by the way. March Madness, when it's rescheduled for Sunday, March 24th. Casey will be
That's
there.
not
Tom
true.
will be
That's
there.
not true.
What?
The second half of March Madness.
Right.
Because the first
I was
half
going
of
to get
March-
to that.
Okay.
Let me finish my promo here.
Then what
Come
am I
on,
doing here?
Harry.
He's
I'm
calling
gonna
you
ask
fake
you.
news.
Hold on. I'm going to ask you about that. Okay, but March Madness will take place Cherokee Speedway in Gaffney, South Carolina, March 24th. Southern All Stars Dirt Series going to kick off that season. Going to be a great show. Pay-per-view broadcast. It will be also tape delayed by about a month and a half on MAV TV, Speed 51 Short Track America. But the other half of March Madness, you big
Ranger fan.
just you know what stir.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, Tom Ryan. How was that on Saturday night with the Southeastern Crate Limited Late Models?
It was impressive. It was impressive because the amount of rain that this area has gotten has been huge. Everybody was there. Gigi Strong. Casey, would you happen to know? I know you used to work at Cherokee.
Ginger.
Did you know her?
Yeah, yes, I did. Yeah, great family.
Was it?
They actually, so when we used to do our go-kart track behind our shop, the Owens family were the ones that came out and they placed the timing and scoring loop at our go-kart track. Ginger. And,
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. I mean, our thoughts and prayers go out to that entire family. She meant so much to that community, and I know a lot of people just grieving right now, but everybody's bonding together, and I love what I see out of that group, the dirt track community, short track community in general, just very strong on trying to help each other out, and this is definitely a difficult time. But in terms of the racing there and what you saw, those Southeastern Limited Late Models, what'd you think about what you saw? Because those video highlights are on the Speed 51 video network.
Yeah, a bunch of great highlights we're going to have there. We're going to have 6 divisions.
Really? You did 6 divisions?
Yeah,
wow.
I
Thunder Bombers?
Yep, I got caught up in it. It was
Extreme
awesome.
4?
Extreme
Oh,
4
yeah.
Is not. They were the
Okay.
final division, but they were pretty good. We have the Thunder Series. We have the Southeast Late Model crates. Let me tell you something about Dustin Mitchell. He looked strong. He had, I want to say, over a half a track lead.
But you went to other people so people can actually see passing. You didn't just follow him for those that are going to consume it on the Speed 51 video network, right?
Well, that's the thing about Speed 51 Network. We don't just send a knucklehead out there that doesn't know what they're doing.
We sent Mark out.
Mark.
I didn't know you were going to say that second half. I just thought you were going to say knucklehead.
No, we do high production value highlights here. So you're going to see his lead
how dominant he was. So he'll want to buy the package. You'll see second, third, back through the field. Interesting stuff. One of the highlight packages has the leader getting into some traffic on one of the restarts. He pulls a 360, keeps going after he got hit from behind. I don't know if he got hit from behind, but there's a little contact down in turn 2. But to watch what results there, you got to go check it out on the network.
Real quickly, because we're going to end this show in the next couple of minutes here, but we did have that poll on our Twitter feed, and it was, do NASCAR drivers do enough to promote racing at the short track grassroots level? We just had a discussion on it, and right now, I'm going to pull it up because I need my glasses here. 80% say no. Tom Ryan, my question to you is, do you agree with that sentiment by our pollsters right now? 80% say NASCAR drivers don't do enough.
If there's not a check attached, the NASCAR driver will not be there.
With the exception of Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, maybe a couple others that I'm forgetting.
Correct. 100%. I mean, I used to work in the industry, and I am so happy to be here where people want to promote themselves and market themselves and talk to the media. Short track racing is refreshing. People, if you want to get back into racing, you got to go to the short tracks, and you'll be hooked. You'll be hooked.
Casey, what do you think? Another show in the books.
Yeah.
Of all the shows we've ever done, this was one of them.
Yes, it was.
Well said.
You got a very important question?
Yeah. I really enjoyed this show. Burt Myers, Christian Eckes, Michael Page, everybody, Devin Morgan, so much fun to listen to their heartfelt thoughts on what's coming up. Chris Regal, what had gone by, and that's what this show is all about.
You know what we need? We need a segment that's called the BD Spotlight. Whenever you just shine the spotlight right in somebody's face, and you're like, hey, man, this is controversial. I'm going to ask you about it, and then I'm going to mute my mic and let you babble your way through it.
Oh, it's always interesting. But we appreciate you coming on, and we're going to miss you in the next couple of weeks.
I know. I'm going to be gone.
Yeah. Casey LaJoy, gone from the morning Bullring, but just for 2 weeks. Yeah. He'll be back, and then I'm taking off, I think. I think when you come back, I'm out, and then we'll reunite once again. All right. Good show. Everybody, thanks for watching the morning Bullring.